Chapter 4954. Brother, before you listen to me, eat a bowl of noodles. Long Ziwei just took those female disciples out for a while, and asked Long Chen to wait for a while. The time for a stick of incense passed, and Long Ziwei ran over with a bowl of hot noodles. Long Chen had a strange look on his face. You guys are running out of the crowd just to get me a bowl of noodles? You eat, this is a little brother's intention. Long Ziwei said. Long Chen was speechless for a while. Why is this Long Ziwei a little nervous? Not the same as normal people, but people are kind, and Long Chen is not easy to refuse. He picked up the bowl and said while eating, You left with the golden bulls just now. Why did you only come back in a chariot? What about the 2 golden bulls? Wow, this beef is pretty good. Long Chen ate the bite of the meat in the noodles and immediately praised. They are scolding the street in the distance. Long Ziwei said with a smile. Long Chen was stunned for a moment, and then he understood that this bowl of beef noodles came from feelings. A female disciple on the Tianbang covered her mouth and smiled. On the front legs of the 4 cows, only a fist-sized piece of essence was taken to make this bowl of noodles. Hey, isn't this a reflection of my respect for the big brother? Anyway, they are not dead, they just need to cultivate for a while. Long Ziwei said with a smile. Fang Liuda and the others had strange expressions on their faces. They wanted to laugh but didn't dare to laugh. Could it be that the more powerful people are, the more surprised their brain circuits are? Long Chen finished eating the noodles in a few mouthfuls and let everyone sit together. Long Chen introduced everyone to Long Ziwei. Long Ziwei had one thing that Long Chen admired, but he didn't have such a big frame. Whether it was introducing Guizhou, or Fang Liuda, Yueying and others, he all said hello. On the other hand, those women have always maintained an attitude of rejecting people thousands of miles away. Even if they are polite on the surface, the pride in their bones cannot be changed. Fang Liuda and others, when Guizhou appeared, were respectful to him and did not dare to speak. When Long Ziwei appeared, Guizhou did not dare to breathe in the air, and in front of Long Chen, Long Ziwei was also cautious and did not dare to speak. There is the slightest presumptuousness, and the whole scene looks a little embarrassing. When asked about Long Zanshan's entry into the Long family, Long Ziwei said that he was still fighting in the arena at that time, and just after defeating a challenger, he heard the sound of an alarm. You know, the people of the Long family don't seem to remember what the alarm sounds like. It has not been sounded for countless years. Because the Long family dominates the wasteland, no one has ever dared to come here to make trouble. In the Sea of Magic, although there are endless sea monsters and sea monsters, the strong dragon family will fight the magic sea several times every year. First, it is for the disciples to experience, and second, it is to prevent the number of sea monsters from growing too fast. In this way, everything is under control, and the Long family has always been the safest. Therefore, people have almost forgotten what year was the last time the Long family alarm sounded. It is said that Long Zhantian came to the Long family and was made difficult by the strong of the Long family. He asked Long Zhantian to prove that he was a member of the Long family, and then Long Zhantian beheaded him with a sword. As a result, countless dragon family powerhouses were besieged, and Long Zhantian didn't speak, just one person and one sword, all the way from the main gate to the dragon family main hall. There is quite a person who challenged the entire Long family's posture. Among the dragon family's heavenly sages, none of them is the general of Long Zanshan's unity. One of the 4 heavenly sages was cut off by Long Zanshan's sword. On the first day of the 4 heavenly saints, Saint Long Chihua was killed. The 2 did not confront each other in front of the Long family hall. Long Ziwei was present at the time. According to him, the 2 of them didn't do anything at that time, but the 2 of them didn't move, the surrounding space kept distorting, the blades of space fluttered, lightning horizontally, and the terrifying coercion triggered the vision of heaven and earth, and the day turned into night in an instant, as if the end times come. Speaking of this picture, Long Ziwei was still very excited. At that time, countless strong people of the Long family saw the picture with their own eyes, and they were all shocked. Just when Long Chihua was about to take action, the old ancestor appeared, stopped the war, and discussed something with Long Zhantian alone. It's just that no one knows what the two talked about. After that, Long Zhantian lived in the Long family, and the senior officials of the Long family didn't seem to want to let Long Zhantian get too many people's attention, and a lot of information about him was not leaked to the outside world. It was only announced that he had become the new 4 heavenly sages, taking the place of the heavenly sages who had his arm cut off by him, and that Long Zhantian had used the power of the 4 heavenly sages to allow mercenaries to have greater hunting range and activity space. At the same time, if there are disciples of the Long family who arbitrarily kill mercenaries, Long Zhantian will use his rights to execute them. He wants to give the mercenaries enough dignity and hope. As soon as the news came out at that time, there was an uproar among the dragon family powerhouses, and countless people openly protested. Those mercenaries, in their eyes, were just inferior people, beggars and slaves. How could they have so much power? However, the senior officials of the Long family said this news, not for negotiation, but an announcement. If anyone objects, they can choose to challenge Long Zhantian. As long as Long Zhantian is defeated, he is eligible to change this rule. Then the Long family became dumb, and the Long family was unhappy. The mercenaries and loose cultivators who came to the heavenly desolate territory were so excited that their eyes filled with tears. As for why Long Zhantian made this decision, no one knew. It's up to me. After listening to Long Ziwei's introduction, Yuang summoned up her courage and said, because the Holy Emperor Zhantian came to Tianhuang, he stayed in our mercenary city for a while, and when he saw the outer disciples of the Long family, he could do whatever he wanted. Bullying us, slaughtering us, and doing it for us. He once told us to protect the kindness and justice in your hearts. The way of heaven will not always be inclined to the bad guys. Our opportunity will come soon. The Emperor Zhantian is the God in our hearts. We will always keep his words in our hearts. No matter what kind of grievances and humiliations we experience, we will protect our hearts. Opportunity comes? Guard your heart? Long Chen's heart is beating wildly. Is this a hint left to him? With the wisdom of the Father, he will never do some meaningless things. How can he stay in the mercenary city for so long? What did he see? What is the meaning of this? Feng Liuda also said. The Emperor Zhantian also said that although this world is covered by dark clouds, it is only temporary. One day in the future, we will finally see the dazzling galaxy that we have never seen before. Xinghe. Long Chen suddenly slapped his thighs and jumped up, with a look of ecstasy on his face. I understand what Daddy means. Chapter 49:55. Long Chen was very excited, and he said to Liuda, "Sixth brother, come here and let me visit your body." "Don't. You can just call me Xiaolu." Feng Lude suddenly became nervous and hurried to Long Chen. Before, they ridiculed Long Chen and felt that Long Chen was harmless to humans and animals. That was because Long Chen didn't look strong, and they were afraid that he would drag everyone down. Thinking about it at this time, he felt uneasy. Long Chen is always Long Chen, sixth brother. You are always sixth brother, and it will not change because of who is stronger and who is weaker. Looking at Feng Luda's trembling appearance, Long Chen comforted him, stretched out his hand and pressed it on his chest. Don't resist, I'll see how your physical potential is. If it's not bad, I'll pass on a set of quite powerful exercises to you. Hearing that Long Chen said that he would pass on the exercises to them, Feng Liuda and others were both surprised and delighted, as if they were in a dream. How powerful is Long Chen? Even Long Ziwei, who is 10th on the heavenly ranking list, is not his opponent. He is willing to be his younger brother, and the pretty powerful in his mouth is an unimaginable power to them. However, Feng Liuda and the others were apprehensive. They knew that the more powerful the exercises, the more demanding a person's talent was, and their talent was originally very general. And because of his poor background, he has always been at the bottom of the cultivation world, and his resources are limited, especially the medicinal pills purchased are of inferior quality. This inferior medicinal pill not only contains a large amount of impurities, but also because of the refining method. There are many erysipelas. In the long run, this erysipelas will corrode their foundation. In fact, they also know that the current realm is likely to be the peak of their life, because their realm has not been improved for a long time. But Long Chen's words rekindled their hope, but they didn't have the slightest confidence in their talent. For a time, they were worried about gain and loss, staring at Long Chen's face, as if they were waiting for the judgment of fate. Long Chen intends to pass the Xinghe Song Cheongju to them. This method does not require much talent. The only requirement is that one person has justice and has a bright heart. Even if the talent is average, he can practice. Practice is bound to bring success. Although it can't be said to be among the experts immediately, it must be hundreds of times stronger than the exercises they practiced themselves. Long Chen realized these people were specially left to him by his father, but Long Chen was a little clueless. After all, Feng Liuda and others have already reached the realm of the gods. The realm is too high, the plasticity is not strong, and they absorb low-quality medicinal pills all the year round. The erysipelas accumulates seriously, even Long Chen cannot completely remove it, so Long Chen has to check the body of the 6 virtues below. When Long Chen's power penetrated into Feng Liuda meridians, he couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. Feng Liuda meridians were already riddled with holes, which was the result of being corroded by erysipelas and the accumulation of dark wounds. Feng Liuda body, more than Long Chen expected it to be even worse. Such a body is like an old man with a dying age. Even Long Chen is unable to rejuvenate. Before he knows it, Long Chen's face becomes solemn. Long Chen, we know our body, it's all right. Seeing Long Chen's serious face, Yuan comforted her softly. She knew that some things in this world cannot be forced. Everyone else was relieved. No one knew the bad condition of their bodies better than them. This was their fate. Long Chen didn't reply. He believed that his father's actions must have deep meaning. He continued to explore Feng Liuda blood. There was a subtle fluctuation in the blood, which made Long Chen stunned. The power of this bloodline is so ancient. From the fluctuations, Long Chen felt the power of the vast years, which shows that Feng Liuda bloodline was inherited from a powerful race. But the power of the bloodline has almost become negligible, and even the bloodline runes have disappeared. The muscles and veins are riddled with holes, and the power of the blood vessels has come to an end. There are signs of decay, and Long Chen's heart is getting colder. But Long Chen still didn't give up and continued to explore his skeleton. There was no ancestral rune left on the skeleton, and it was blank. Then there is the Dantian, which is Long Chen's last hope. If the Dantian is empty, Feng Liuda will not be able to practice the Milky Way heaven art. The violent power of the stars will destroy his body in an instant. However, the more afraid of something, the more it will come. Feng Liuda Dantian is in chaos. The power is mixed and not pure, scattered but not gathered. Even if he does not fight, the energy in his Dantian is still slowly depleting. His Dantian is still in chaos. It seems that it can no longer be locked, causing the power to continuously leak out. Just when Long Chen was about to give up, suddenly Long Chen found that there was a small vortex under Feng Liuda Dantian. The vortex was as small as a mung bean. If Long Chen hadn't observed it carefully enough, he wouldn't have found it at all. It turns out that his power is not leaking out, but internal friction. Only then did Long Chen discover that it was that little vortex that was constantly extracting the energy from Feng Liuda Dantian. Long Chen went in along the vortex and found that there was a rune that was almost invisible to the naked eye. The rune was almost completely transparent, and the fluctuation was extremely weak. The original rune, so it is. Long Chen suddenly understood that the blood inheritance of Feng Liuda was not weak, but in his generation, the blood was exhausted, and the original rune was about to dissipate. In order to survive, the original rune had to draw Feng Liuda Dantian energy to hang its life. It was purely an instinct of life to do so. Activate it and try. In the palm of Long Chen, a warm current slowly poured into Feng Liuda Dantian. It was a thin white line. When the thin line approached the rune suddenly felt a sense and became active in an instant. Slammed into the thread. Buzz, the rune seemed to be about to drown, grabbing a life-saving straw, and at that moment, it became crazy, desperately sucking the energy on that silk thread. At that moment, Feng Liuda body shook violently, an unprecedented force rose up in his body, and his bloodline became active. In the blood, there were actually transparent runes emerging, and the blood flow began to slowly start to flow. Repair his meridians. Sure enough, all of this was arranged by Dad. At that moment, a smile appeared on Long Chen's face. When Long Chen's hand left Fong Leota was already radiant, full of qi and blood, as if he had changed a person. Fong Leota could hardly believe his eyes. At this moment, his body was full of power, like a dying old man, and he began to renew his life. The feeling cannot be described in words. He was so excited that he couldn't even say a word. Senior, the runes in his body are so ancient, how do I feel that they are similar to the runes in the purple blood? Long Chen said to Qin Kuan Cauldron. Qin Kuan Ding was silent for a while and then said, "That is Julie's servant pattern." What? Qin Kuan Ding's answer shocked Long Chen. Chapter 4956, Julie Servant Pattern? Is it related to the Julie tribe? Long Chen was so shocked that his chin was about to fall. Julie people, that is the strongest race of the human race, how could their descendants fall to this point? That's all I can say. Qin Kuan Ding said. Long Chen's heart was beating wildly. He didn't know what Julie's servant pattern was, but the word Julie was too scary. Then my father saw their identities and hinted at me intentionally? Long Chen asked. Qin Kuan Ding Dao, 8 out of 10/9. The excitement in Long Chen's heart couldn't be calmed down for a long time. Dad was really amazing. He even saw it, but he didn't notice the abnormality of Fong Leota and others. It's no wonder that the old man reached the top of the Long family all the way, and he didn't want any power, but he wanted to give them more living space and freedom. He couldn't bear to be trampled on by people who used to be such a brilliant race. Long Chen checked the others separately and found that they were all the same, with the Julie servant mark in their bodies. As long as it was activated, the rune began to wake up and began to transform their bodies. However, this also has a downside, that is, from now on, their bodies will need more energy. In the past, their appetite was a chicken, but in the future, they would be a cow. The strong will use resources to accumulate them. Seeing that Fong Leota and the others seemed to be reborn in an instant, Long Ziwei opened his mouth wide in shock. You must know that in their eyes, Fong Leota and others were destined to be people from two worlds, but their changes, making them more in awe of Long Chen's methods. With their current strength, they can completely enter the outer door. Gui Jiao sighed. The fate of people is too magical, everyone can no longer be mercenaries in the future, and they can look down on others proudly. Long Chen Wei. Yuang was so excited that she wanted to thank her, but she found that the word thank you couldn't say it. These two words were too light to carry the gratitude in their hearts. In passing on a set of exercises for you now, you have to remember it firmly and imprint it in the depths of your soul. Long Chen said. Hearing what Long Chen said, Gui Jiao, Long Ziwei, and the other women would leave without suspicion, because it was taboo for others to be around when it came to teaching practice. Long Chen said, My practice is not a secret, you can listen to it and learn from it. Is it really possible? Gui Jiao said excitedly. Sure. After Long Chen finished speaking, he began to talk about the general outline of the galaxy sky art. In fact, the cultivation method of the galaxy sky art is extremely simple, but it is 3 processes of gathering, sensing, and attracting stars. Gathering is to condense a star in the dantian, and then sense the power of the stars between heaven and earth, and use the power of the stars to nourish their own stars, and finally attract the stars and the stars, corresponding to their own stars, reaching the realm of attracting stars into the body. Xinghe Cheongju is an extremely simple exercise. As for its supernatural powers, Long Chen has not taught it. It needs to have a certain foundation before it can be practiced. Buzzing. Fong Leota and the others formed seals with their hands, and their dantian glowed, and it only took a stick of incense to complete the gathering of stars. This, so simple? They could hardly believe it, as if they were in a dream. Although it's simple, it's really not that simple. That's because the primitive runes in your body helped you. Long Chen sighed in his heart. 4 ordinary practitioners, It takes several days just to find the location of the stars in the Dantian, because the location of the stars is different for each person. It really deserves to be related to the existence of the legendary Juli tribe. They are down, and what they lack is just an opportunity to grow. Now, Long Chen brought the opportunity to them. However, Guizhou understood, but did not practice. On the one hand, he had his own way of practice, and he would not change it easily. In addition, he doesn't know whether this practice method is suitable for him. If it is not suitable, half of the practice, it is not good to give up all the previous work, and it will hurt the root. There is another important reason, that is, he does not know whether this practice is really as strong as Long Chen said, and before he is sure, he chooses to wait and see. After juicing is completed, it is to raise a star, and take care of it just like raising a child, and it will also bring you endless surprises. Long Chen said. When everyone heard it, they were instantly elated, looking at the stars in their Dantian, the size of a soybean. Their faces were full of excitement. Because just such a small star can provide them with extremely powerful power. If it grows up, they can't imagine what it will be like. Boss, are you coming to Tianhuang this time to compete with Long Tianrui? Long Ziwei asked when Long Chen was finished. Who is Long Tianrui? Long Chen asked. Long Tianrui is the peerless genius of the Long family. She is a monster sealed in the ancient times. No matter in her era or this era, she is synonymous with invincibility. When it comes to Long Tianrui, Long Ziwei somewhat excited. However, after I was excited, I remembered that since Long Chen had never heard of Long Tianrui's name, he knew that he was not here for Long Tianrui, and was a little disappointed. Long Chen said, I came to Tianwanjiu to collect some precious medicines. In fact, I don't want to have anything to do with the Long family. I hate this kind of family that only talks about interests, intrigues all day long, and has no family warmth. Long Chen said this. The faces of the women were slightly unsightly. They were all members of the dragon family, and the blood of the dragon family was flowing in their bodies, which was their noble status symbol. But the most important thing in their eyes is worthless in the eyes of Long Chen, which makes them extremely uncomfortable, but they dare not say anything. Boss, do you want rare medicine? That's easy. I'll go to the Long family medicine store and get it for you. What do you want? Long Ziwei said hurriedly. Forget it, I don't want their things. I want to take people's hands and eat their mouths softly. I want to issue a mission in the mercenary city and let the mercenaries help me find it. Long Chen said, we can call on all the brothers and sisters in our Scarlet Mercenary group to help you find them. Fong Lud said hurriedly, collecting all kinds of precious medicines. They are the best at it, and they have all kinds of news, which is the most what they are good at is also the skills they rely on to survive. They are worried that there is no chance to repay Long Chen, and now the opportunity has come. Even if they go through fire and water, they have to help Long Chen get the precious medicine. Long Chen said, then let's go, call everyone in your bloody mercenary group, and I will pass the galaxy sky art to them together. What? When everyone heard it, they couldn't believe their ears. Chapter 4957, Long Chen has come to heaven. In a splendid golden hall, dozens of old people gathered together, sat together, and took the right place in the hall. It was a scrawny old man, and the whole person was almost skin and bones. Generally, the old man sat in the middle. Although he was thin, he had a majestic demeanor. In the sunken eye sockets, his eyes were bright and piercing. In the depths of his pupils, lightning flashed from time to time. That voice was exactly what he made. In front of him, there are 4 top seats on the left and right. The top seats of the others are all silver, but these 4 top seats are made of gold. There are 3 people sitting on the 4 top seats, one of which is empty, and the first seat is a middle-aged man with black hair and thick eyebrows. This person is none other than the head of the 4 heavenly sages, Long Qihua. And on the second seat is a short and fat old man, similar to a dwarf. Sitting on a chair with his feet off the ground, he looks very weird. This person is the second-day saint of the Long family, Long Yaoting. The third person was a woman. The woman's face was indifferent, her eyes were tightly closed, she seemed to have settled down, and she never seemed to be interested in the outside world. This woman was the only woman among the 4 heavenly sages, Long Qianxue. She was indifferent by nature and had not spoken for hundreds of years. The 4th seat was empty. Originally, that position was for Long Zhantian, but Long Zhantian did not come back, so it was empty. In the main hall, in addition to the 4 great heavenly saints, there are dozens of heavenly saints who are powerful elders of the Long family. All of them are here. One of them is very eye-catching because of his cultivation. It's just an earth sage. That person is not someone else. It is Lord Tianxi, who once had a relationship with Long Chen. In short, all the rulers of the Long family are here. After the scrawny old man announced that Long Chen was coming, some of the strong people present were surprised, some were indifferent, some were angry, and there was an old man with a broken arm. Gritting his teeth, killing intent rises. The scrawny old man was the contemporary patriarch of the Long family. After he finished speaking, he looked at everyone without saying a word, as if waiting for everyone's response. And no one of the people spoke, and for a while, the air in the entire hall froze, and it was deadly silent. They all know who Long Chen is, and many people can't help but look at an old man in the field. The old man's face is gloomy, and the killing intent in his eyes cannot be concealed. That person is none other than Long Zhe, who was ranked 4th among the 4 heavenly sages of the Long family. His arm was cut off by Long Zhantian. He cut off his arm and took his position. It's been a few months. The hatred in his heart has not been reduced by half, but it has become more and more intense. He vowed to regain what belongs to him and give Long Zhantian the gift of all his humiliation is returned to him. Now, the revenge has not yet been avenged, but when he heard Long Zhantian's son approaching the door, his killing intent suddenly surged. Because before, Lord Tianxi proposed at the Long Family Council that the Long family should lower his profile, bring Long Chen back, and not let him outside, otherwise, he will not have any sense of belonging to the Long family in the future. However, it was fiercely opposed by Long Zhe. However, except Long Zhe, almost most people opposed it, and the rest were silent and did not express any opinions. In desperation, Lord Tianxi left only one sentence: "Don't pull Long Chen back now, and when Long Chen grows to the point where Long Zhantian is, the Long family will completely lose the chance to win over Long Chen." However, under the strong opposition of everyone, the Long family put this matter on hold indefinitely because one of the 4 heavenly saints who can decide the direction of the matter is absent, and none of the other 3 have expressed their opinions. And Long Zhe, one of the 4 great heavenly saints in the past, took the lead again. The most important thing is that Long Zhantian killed the Long family in the most savage and violent way and killed so many people. Nakedly punching everyone in the Long family, they all resented Long Zhantian. But when the ancestors spoke, they could only put their resentment in their stomachs and dared not vent it. Not long after Long Zhantian left, his son came again, which immediately aroused the hatred in their hearts. At that time, Long Zhantian entered the Long family alone, killed thousands of strong people and injured countless people. Among the thousands of strong people, many of them were the backbone of their respective branches. How could they not hate Long Zhansky? Now that Long Chen is here, many people have a murderous intention in their hearts, but they can hold back, not as obvious as Long Zhe. There was a dead silence in the hall. For a whole time of incense sticks, no one spoke. Finally, Long Zhe couldn't help speaking. He gritted his teeth and said, "What do you mean? After the old man is arrogant, the young ones are also arrogant? Is this bullying no one in our Long family?" Lord Patriarch didn't seem to say anything, "So you should put on an arrogant hat first. Doesn't that seem inappropriate?" Lord Tianxi said indifferently. Long Zhe was furious. "You will talk to him. Have you forgotten how arrogant his father was? Have you forgotten how the strong people of the Long family died tragically?" Lord Tianxi curled his lips and said, "I don't know which idiot under his command. He said that he wanted to bleed Long Zhantian, which angered Long Zhantian. When did the disciples of the Long family need bloodletting when they recognized their ancestors and returned to their ancestors? You guys are deliberately humiliating Long Zhantian. It's no wonder that Long Zhantian doesn't kill people. After Long Zhantian murdered, you besieged him, have you ever given him a chance to speak? If you can kill, why can't he? Who? Long Zhe was furious, because he deliberately humiliated Long Zhantian that day, and it was his branch that provoked the incident. It was because his descendants were killed that he became furious. Long Zhantian chopped off his arm. Later, if Sheng Long Qihua hadn't arrived on the first day, it is estimated that there would be no Long Zhe in the Long family anymore. Okay, I called everyone to discuss how the Long family should deal with Long Chen, not to listen to your quarrel. The head of the Long family said, if there is anything to discuss, let him go straight away, or just kill him if he doesn't. Long Zhe snorted coldly. Lord Tianxi sneered, I'm really puzzled. Long Zhantian cut off your arm that day, did he cut off your brain too? Can you say such a brainless thing? Long Zhantian, father and son, are members of my dragon family. The blood of my dragon family is flowing in their bodies. What qualifications do you have to drive others away? Besides, it was Long Zhantian who killed you, not Long Chen. You spread your grievance on a junior, can you point your face? Call. Long Zhe stood up straight from his chair and snorted coldly, I'm just shameless, I'm going to slaughter this little beast now. As he spoke, he walked straight out of the hall under the shocked eyes of everyone. Chapter 4958. You come back to me. With an angry shout, like a mad thunder, it was the patriarch who got angry and he cursed loudly, have you lived for such a long time? Have you lived on a dog? You are really promising, you can't beat the old man, but go to beat the son? If you dare to touch a single hair of Long Zhantian's son, believe it or not, when Long Zhantian comes back, he will branch out of your lineage and catch them out and bleed them one by one. Do you think what Long Zhantian said in front of the gate of 9 heavens was to scare the younger generation? I tell you, he said it to our Long family and to you. The patriarch was furious. When a shriveled old man got angry, he was like an angry lion. Long Zhe was so frightened that he dared not speak again, and could only sit back in his seat silently. The gloomy face on his face was his last stubbornness. Seeing Long Zhe sitting back in his place, the patriarch also suppressed his anger. After all, Long Zhe was once one of the 4 heavenly sages, so he couldn't scold him too harshly. What is Long Chen's attitude? Or what is the purpose of his coming to my Long family? What everyone didn't expect was that she, who had not spoken for many years, actually did. Judging from the known situation, he came to the wasteland to collect precious medicines, and he has issued a mission in the mercenary city, asking the mercenaries to help him collect them. At this time, an old man said, this old man is the person in charge of intelligence collection in the Long family. Long Chen just arrived when he learned the news and felt that things were unusual. With Long Zhantian's experience, he did not dare to neglect and directly inform the patriarch. He continued, but before collecting the precious medicine, he killed an inner disciple of my Long family, dozens of outer disciples. You are so brave, their father and son are here to make trouble, and such people should be killed directly. Long Zhe said angrily, should you wait for me to finish? The old man in charge of reading the information couldn't help frowning, and then continued. It was a coincidence that Long Ziwei received the news immediately and went to fight with Long Chen. When everyone heard Long Ziwei's name, all their faces showed strange expressions, because Lord Tianxi discussed Long Chen's aptitude and potential before and compared him with Long Ziwei. And Long Ziwei has been unconvinced and desperately improved his strength. During this period of time, he made continuous breakthroughs, and his combat power rose like crazy, just to be able to fight Long Chen one day, which was unexpectedly achieved so quickly. When will the battle start? Someone asked. It's over, the old man said. What's the result? Everyone was interested for a while. The old man read the information on the book and replied. 3 breaths time, Long Ziwei was defeated. In the early stage, Long Ziwei was always attacking, Long Chen was defending, and finally Long Chen took a knife, and Long Ziwei did it willingly. Long Chen's little brother. Bastard, this Long Ziwei usually sees 7 people who don't agree with anyone, and 8 people who don't like it. How is that different from being a dog? How can my Long family have such a boneless bum? Long Zhe yelled angrily. Everyone was slightly taken aback. Long Ziwei's strength was obvious to all, although he had been in the 10th position and did not advance. But you must know that the people in front of him are monster-level existences, and behind him, there are also a large group of perverts, coveting his position. He can always be ranked 10th, which is already impressive. Who would have thought that Long Ziwei was so convincing in the hands of Long Chun that he would become someone's younger brother? The so-called younger brother means a follower in the cultivation world, which is very shameful. Everyone look at me, I look at you, I don't know what to say for a while. Although Long Ziwei is not the strongest, his temper is notoriously bad. He is a regular visitor to the precepts hall, and he has been dealt with many times, but his temper is still stubborn. If it weren't for his talent, he would have been killed long ago, but he is such a stubborn donkey. Imagine. The old man continued, there is also a strange phenomenon. Long Chun was in the mercenary city and began to teach some mercenaries exercises, called the Galaxy Sky Art, which caused a great shock. Now, hundreds of thousands of mercenaries have begun to start cultivation. In the eyes of these mercenaries, Long Chen and his son are like gods. Cut. Long Zanshan's father and son have a sick mind. What's the point of being so good at a group of ants? If the mud can't support the wall, do you still expect this group of people to conquer the world for them? Long Zhe sneered. But the other powerhouses looked a little surprised. Back then, when Long Zhantian sought benefits for those mercenaries, they felt a little weird. And after Long Chen arrived, he even taught them the exercises. What kind of medicine did the father and son sell in the gourd? Although they don't know much about Long Zhantian, but with his decisive character, he doesn't seem to do useless things, and he's not like that kind of bad guy. Otherwise, he won't be so ruthless when he kills the strong of the Long family. What the hell is this kid trying to do? Someone couldn't help but muttered. I got the news from Long Ziwei. Long Chen doesn't plan to contact our Long family, and he is ready to leave after collecting the precious medicine. This is the precious medicine he sought in his mission. After the old man finished speaking, he showed a piece of paper on which hundreds of precious medicines were densely recorded. Everyone was stunned, and some people couldn't help but say, there are many rare and precious medicines on this, and we don't have them in our own warehouse. Is he sure he is here to collect rare medicines? The precious medicines above are basically unique to the heavenly desolate domain. Moreover, many of the precious medicines are very famous and belong to the treasure-level existence. They are extremely scarce. It used to be there, but after it was consumed, it was not replenished, which made people question Long Chen's motives. Did he deliberately use the pretext of collecting precious medicines to wait for our Long family to extend an olive branch to him? Or is he in trouble now, or Lingshao Academy is in trouble and wants to ask my Long family to help? Road. Everyone nodded, saying this, there is indeed such a possibility. Long Chen is embarrassed to come to seek refuge, and wants the Long family to contact him, so that he will have a step down. Long Zhe sneered, just about to speak, but was interrupted by Lord Tianxi. He said lightly, you don't know Long Chen too well. He disdains to use these little tricks. Maybe someone can cut off his head, but no one can make him bow his head. The words of Lord Tianxi are decisive. He has read countless people in his life, and he has never made mistakes. People with the character of Long Chen will not use this kind of trick at all. The heart of a gentleman's belly made him extremely upset. Lord Tianxi stood up and said indifferently, I have said all of this, and I have already said what I should say. As for how to choose, that is your business. After Lord Tianxi finished speaking, he just left without even looking at everyone. When he walked out of the hall, he looked up at the sky, shook his head, let out a sigh, and left a lonely back in the hall. Of people. Chapter 49-59. Lord Tianxi left. Everyone was silent. Long Zhe ran out before, was stopped by the patriarch, and was scolded. However, only Lord Tianxi, who had been cultivated by the earth sage, left, but the patriarch looked calm and seemed to be used to it. The head of the Long family looked at everyone and said, Master Tianxi is leaving, but the council is still open. How do you think about Long Chen's arrival this time? Can you have any constructive opinions? My opinion is to let him get out, or die if he doesn't get out. Long Zhe said. The patriarch ignored him, but looked at the others. For a while, these people fell silent again, and suddenly someone said, "Everyone knows that Long Chen is arrogant and unruly, and he is also the branch dean of Lingshao Academy. To be honest, I personally think that this person is not worthy of being absorbed into my Long family. First of all, my Long family is full of talents, and there are as many as 3 sons of destiny, and there are as many as 17 sons of half-step destiny besides Long Ziwei. Our resources, just cultivating them, are already a bit difficult. Why should we have another person to share the food? Secondly, even if we fully support Long Chen, he may not be able to take our love. Will he abandon Lingshao Academy and join our Long family?" As soon as the man opened his mouth, many people nodded and felt that he was right. They had also studied Long Chen's experience in Mingay Ocean, Xianshan and other places, and knew that he was very loyal to Lingshao Academy. Another old man said, "I also think so. Lingshao Academy is the object of Brahma Pill Valley's suppression. If we absorb Long Chen, we will first face the pressure of Brahma Pill Valley. Our relationship with Brahma Pill Valley is not bad. We purchase a large amount of medicinal pills from them all year round to supplement our own alchemy hall. If we offend Brahma Pill Valley because of Long Chen and are cut off from medicinal pills, we will lose this loss. It's hard to bear." Among the powerhouses, except for Lord Tianxi, all of them are extremely disgusted with Long Chen. There is no way. The last time Long Zhantian made them all face to face, all of them felt extremely embarrassed, which is equivalent to offending them all. Among the others, there were also people who said that when Long Chen came this time, he did not report, nor did he have any invitations, and he had no basic etiquette. Obviously, he looked down on the Long family. Some people even think that Long Chen's trip is very likely to have hidden secrets, and he needs to pay attention to the movement outside to see if he is evading the pursuit and killing, and then came to the Long family to take refuge. In short, there are various objections to Long Chen's joining, and no one welcomes it. Of course, the one who welcomes has already left. The patriarch pondered for a while, then looked at Long Qihua and the others. "The 3 of you can express your opinion." Long Qihua shook his head and said, "I have no opinion." The next day, Shenglong Yaoting shook his head and said, "I don't mind either." The so-called no opinion means that you can handle it. I don't express my opinion. It has nothing to do with me whether Long Chen stays or goes. When the patriarch looked at Long Qianxue, she said indifferently, "I have no opinion, but let me remind you that you'd better seek the opinion of your ancestors on this matter." This kind of trivial matter also needs to alarm the ancestors? It's a joke. What is his Long Chen? Long Zhe sneered. Long Qianxue looked at Long Zhe, her face suddenly turned cold. "Why are you acting like a mad dog now? Whoever catches and bites. Before, everyone knew that you were in a bad mood, so they let you. But don't push your nose on your face, you will irritate me, and you will cut off your other arm too?" Long Qianxue was notoriously indifferent in the Long family and would not easily conflict with others, but once there was a conflict, this was a god-killing existence, and no one could afford to provoke him. Seeing Long Qianxue's anger, Long Zhe suddenly fainted. Over the years, he has never been Long Qianxue's opponent, and he never dared to challenge her position. "I'm not at you, I'm at the kid Long Chen." Long Zhe couldn't help muttering, and everyone present could hear that this old guy was scared. "Okay, since you've all expressed your opinions, I know what to do, let the meeting go." The head of the Long family stood up, and everyone dispersed. "Boss, today I collected another 37 kinds of precious medicines." In the mercenary city, Long Chen was sitting in front of a dilapidated square, leaning against a remnant wall, quietly watching the void in a daze, and suddenly there was the excited voice of Guizhou. Before Guizhou called Long Chen the master, Long Chen didn't like this title, and later Guizhou sought Long Ziwei's approval and also called Long Chen the boss. In the past few days, Guizhou can be said to be very hardworking. Whatever Long Chen ordered, he did it clearly and properly. When Long Chen acquiesced to his title, Guizhou was very excited, and it is not shameful to become a younger brother, especially if he can become Long Chen's younger brother. In a sense, to become Long Chen's younger brother, he can be with Long Ziwei juxtaposed. Today, Guizhou was in the mercenary group to count the completion of the task, and he harvested so many precious medicines at once. But boss, some of these precious medicines are a little damaged. The mercenaries said that they don't want the quest reward. Guizhou was talking, seeing Long Chen staring, and hurriedly said, "Of course, I paid all the remuneration according to your instructions, and they can't do it if they don't accept it." Hearing what Guizhou said, Long Chen's face softened. After taking stock of the precious medicine, he sent it into the chaotic space and planted it. As for those damaged, it may not be usable for others, but for him, say, that's not a problem. The quest rewards released by Long Chen in the mercenary group are more than 10 times their usual quest rewards, and all the mercenaries are frantically receiving quests to help Long Chen find precious medicine. Because of its unique geographical location, there are many rare and precious medicines in Tianwanjiu, but this so-called rarity is for the outside world, because the Long family has its own medicine garden, and they can cultivate rare medicines, so the Long family has their own medicines. Some rare medicines, the value will not be too high. Although there is a certain gap in the efficacy of artificially cultivated and naturally grown rare medicines, the gap is generally not too large and can be supplemented by dosage. Therefore, the income of mercenaries is extremely low. The Long family prohibits external powerhouses from directly purchasing precious medicines from mercenaries. Once found, they will be severely punished, because this will affect the sales of Long family medicine garden. Therefore, once Long Chen's mission was released, countless people rushed to grab it, and even several teams grabbed a mission at the same time. Whoever delivers it first will receive the reward. If it is delivered at the same time, as long as the mission is not cancelled, all will be to get the reward. This is simply giving them money for nothing. Can the efficiency be not high? In just 3 days, Long Chen collected most of the precious medicines on the list. Even Long Chen was very surprised that Ni Chongdan was waving to him. As for money, Long Chen is not lacking at all. Although he dare not compare with the archaeological expert Mo Nian, these chaotic spirit stones are nothing to him at all. The reason why Long Chen was in a daze in the square was because Chen Kuan-ding asked him to go to Long's house, because Long's house had what he wanted, but he was extremely resistant to it. For a time, he didn't know what to do. His pride did not allow him to bow his head. "Boss." Suddenly, a voice came, and Long Chen and Guizhou were startled when they saw the man, only to see Long Ziwei walking over covered in blood. Chapter 4960, What's the Situation? Seeing Long Ziwei's appearance, both Long Chen and Guizhou were startled. Long Ziwei was injured, and his bones were visible in many places, and he looked extremely embarrassed. "My 10th was taken away," Long Ziwei said with a frustrated expression. Only then did Long Chen understand that Long Ziwei had just accepted someone else's ranking challenge and was defeated. Long Chen pouted and said, "You deliberately didn't heal your wounds and pretended to be miserable. Do you want me to give you a head start?" This kid has been encouraging him to go to the list several times before. After all, Long Chen is also a member of the Long family, and he has that qualification. But Long Chen has no interest in this kind of list. He doesn't want to make a name for himself in the Long family, and he doesn't need to take anything from the Long family. Now, this guy came back with a whole body of injuries, although the injury was quite serious, but along the way, he can completely heal the wounds first, instead of coming to Long Chen with a whole body of blood. This intention is too obvious. Long Ziwei was not embarrassed to see that it was dismantled. He said, "Boss, it's not interesting for you to say that. That guy didn't know what medicine he was taking, but he suddenly improved too much. If I lost, I would lose. My skills are not as good as others. I have nothing to say. The key is that guy, who is cheap, keeps humiliating me. Even if he humiliates me, he also deliberately humiliates you, humiliating the Emperor Zhantian. Then can I bear it? I have to fight him hard?" Seeing Long Ziwei being filled with righteous indignation, Long Chen smiled slightly. He knew that this kid wanted him to compete for the list. Even if he refused, he would not give up. Seeing Long Chen's disbelief, Long Ziwei was in a hurry. He was about to speak, and at this moment, the void roared loudly, and a handsome man, surrounded by a group of people, appeared in front of Long Chen and others. Long Qingyun, when he saw the man, Gui Jiao's pupils shrank, and he recognized that this person was Long Qingyun, who was ranked 11th in the heavenly ranking. At this time, Long Qingjian's complexion was slightly pale, and he seemed to be injured, but his face was full of arrogance. At that moment, he understood that it was Long Qingyun who defeated Long Ziwei emotionally. As soon as Long Qingyun appeared, not only was Long Ziwei not angry, but there was a hint of surprise in his eyes, but he looked like he was gnashing his teeth. Long Qingyun, what do you mean? Long Ziwei said angrily. Long Chen was still leaning lazily on the square. What made him laugh was that there were a group of men and women behind Long Qingyun, and Long Chen saw two familiar faces. It was two women. The two women were with Long Ziwei last time, but at this time they were standing behind Long Qingyun. The two looked indifferent, as if they didn't know Long Ziwei. Faster. A dog is a dog. When you are beaten, you will only complain to your master at the first time. Unfortunately, your master is just a wretch. You can only hide here and don't dare to show your face, ha! Long Qingyun glanced at Long Ziwei, then again glancing at Long Chen reclining on the gravel in the square, he laughed and was extremely arrogant. You can humiliate me, but you can't humiliate the great son of the Holy Emperor. Long Ziwei roared. Holy Emperor? Holy Emperor, who sealed him? It's just a group of mercenaries like ants calling him that. Are you really treating yourself as a dish? Long Qingyun sneered. Long Qinjian's ridicule, Long Ziwei was furious and trembled with anger, but in fact, this guy was not angry, but excited. He shouted in his heart, "Go on, don't stop, taunt, try harder, please come on." It seems that Long Qingyun is very cooperative with Long Ziwei. He squinted his eyes and looked at Long Chen. I heard that you are the son of Long Zhantian? Although we don't like Long Zhantian, we have to admit that Long Zhantian is really strong. And you, as his son, are hiding here. I really doubt whether you are really his son, ha. In the face of Long Qinjian's ridicule, Long Chen suddenly moved, and when he moved, Long Qingyun and others couldn't help but take a few steps back. However, Long Chen didn't make a move, but raised his hands high, sat there and stretched his waist for a long time. This move made Long Qingyun and others furious, and they felt that they had been tricked. Long Chen, if you were your father's seed, would you dare to fight with me in the arena? Long Qingyun pointed at Long Chen and shouted, directly challenging him. Seeing this scene, Long Ziwei finally showed a smile on his face, and finally succeeded, and then it would depend on whether Long Chen would fight. Long Chen stretched his waist, looked at Long Qingyun lazily, shook his head and said, "What a fool, Long Ziwei keeps digging holes for you, but you will cooperate with him and jump in. But you don't know that there are some pits in this world. Once you jump in, you can't get out again. Can you only bury your bones here?" Long Ziwei stayed for a while, and these little tricks of his feelings were seen through by Long Chen. He also thought that his acting skills were good, but Long Chen couldn't see it. "What bullshit are you talking about? Do you dare to fight me?" Long Qingyun said coldly. "Dare or dare, don't you know? If you really dare to challenge me, you won't designate to be in the ring." Long Chen said lightly. As soon as Long Chen's words came out, Long Ziwei understood at once. Don't look at Long Qinjian's aggressiveness, but he was afraid of Long Chen in his heart. If he is not afraid of Long Chen, he will directly challenge Long Chen like Long Ziwei, life and death, but he does not dare. He only dares to compare with Long Chen in the arena. He is afraid of being killed by Long Chen. It can be said that Long Chen's words directly hit the key point of Long Qingyun, which made him unable to answer directly for a while, and the other disciples also heard the key. Long Chen said lightly, "You know that you are not my opponent, you are instructed by others, and you want to touch my bottom through a battle in the arena. You are afraid of being killed by me, so you have to rely on the rules of the arena to save your life. But what you don't know is that no matter where I am, once my dragon dust is motivated to kill, let alone a small arena, even if the emperor comes, can't save your life." Long Chen's words are an understatement, but every word is full of strong confidence, and no one dares to doubt his confidence, which is shocking. What nonsense are you talking about? There are rules in the Long family. Disciples of the Long family cannot kill each other. Any grievances can only be resolved in the arena. Do you think senior brother Qingyun is really afraid of you? At this time, a woman stood up, relieved the road for Long Qingyun. That woman is none other than one of the women who was with Long Ziwei before. Seeing that woman, Long Ziwei sneered, "Nonsense, why don't I know this rule? Are there still few cases of the Long family's disciples killing each other?" "Shut up, you are already someone else's dog. Are you still a disciple of the Long family?" the woman scolded angrily. "You!" Long Ziwei was furious. "You can endure this? I really despise you." At this time, Long Qin said aggressively, "What can I do if I can't bear it? He is just my defeated general, and I will crush him forever." Long Qingyun sneered, "Ziwei, do you want revenge?" At this time, Long Qin stood up lazily, patted Long Ziwei on the shoulder, and a sinister smile flashed across Long Chen's mouth. Chapter 4961, Boss, I could have suppressed him. We are all cultivation bases of the god Venerable Jizongshan, but I don't know what happened. He took that step and advanced to God Venerable Great Perfection. He has already touched the barrier and gained a trace of immortality. Not only did I have a trace of immortal power, but I don't know where I got a top-grade heavenly holy weapon. The current me is really not his opponent. Long Ziwei said to Long Chen. His voice was full of helplessness. "Don't say this, just say whether you want revenge?" Long Chen said, Of course I think, this guy is humiliated in every way in the ring. I can't wait to slash him with 1,000 swords." Long Ziwei gritted his teeth. "That's it." Long Chen turned to look at Long Qingyun and said, "You want to challenge me? To be honest, the gap is too big. I can't accept your challenge. However, I also give you a chance. Long Ziwei is my younger brother. If you can defeat him again, I will agree to your challenge." Long Qingyun laughed loudly, pointed at Long Ziwei and said, "Aren't you afraid that I will destroy him and kill him? Or do you think it's useless to dislike this bastard and want to kill him by my hand?" Long Ziwei was furious for a moment, but was pulled by Long Chen. Long Chen looked at Long Qingyun and said, "Well, 3 hours later, see you in the arena." "Okay, I'll wait for you in the ring, let's go." Long Qingyun got his wish, waved his hand, and left in a burst of arrogant laughter. On the square, only the 3 of Long Chen and the mercenaries who were shivering in hiding in the room were left. They had never seen such a terrifying scene. After Long Qingyun and others left, Long Chen leaned lazily on the pile of stones, as if nothing had happened. "Boss, don't worry, even if I try my best, I will defeat Long Qingyun." Long Ziwei gritted his teeth. Long Qingyun repeatedly trampled on his dignity, his anger kept burning, he was almost going crazy. "It's not to defeat, it's to kill." Long Chen said. "What?" Gue Jiao couldn't believe his ears. Long Chen actually asked Long Ziwei to kill Long Qingyun. You know, Long Qingyun just defeated Long Ziwei, and his vigor has not disappeared. The chance of Long Ziwei being able to defeat Long Qingyun is very slim. It's impossible to kill him. Not to mention the protection of the formation rules, even if there is no formation protection, it is extremely difficult to kill a powerhouse of that level, unless there is the strength to crush the opponent. Obviously, Long Ziwei does not have such an obvious advantage. Long Ziwei was also stunned. He said that he wanted to defeat Long Qingyun, which was already bragging. This was to cheer himself up, and Long Chen was even more exaggerated. "Don't question, you must kill Long Qingyun within 3 moves, otherwise you are not qualified to be my little brother," Long Chen said solemnly. Long Ziwei opened his mouth wide, and Gue Jiao was instantly petrified. "How is this possible?" Long Chen continued, "I hate people like Long Qingyun. If I ignored him just now, he would say something more ugly, and then I would kill him in a rage. But in this way you lose the chance of revenge, so I still leave the chance to you. You may not believe it. For a character like Long Qingyun, more than half of the more than 7,000 brothers in my Dragon Blood Legion can kill him in a one-on-one situation." This? Long Ziwei and Gue Jiao both looked in disbelief. If someone else said this, they would definitely laugh out their teeth, but even if it came out of Long Chen's mouth, they still couldn't believe it. Of course, those who can kill him will basically perish with him, but the existence of a legion commander does not require much effort to kill him. And Yu Zifeng, the commander of the 4th Army, only needed a sword to kill him, and he didn't even have a chance to make a shot, so the corpse was in a different place. Long Chen looked at the two and said, "So, if you say something arrogant, not everyone is qualified to be my little brother." Long Ziwei's heart was beating wildly. He believed that Long Chen was not the kind of bragging person. On the contrary, he was an extremely low-key person. What he said would only be said to Xiaoli, not a big one. "Boss, I understand. I will quickly recover. I will definitely kill him in a while and come to see you with his head in hand." Long Ziwei seemed to be stimulated and gritted his teeth. "No, you can't recover." He shook his head. Long Ziwei was stunned. "You still have 70% of your combat power left. I want you to kill him with this 70% of your combat power, and only 3 moves." Long Chen said. "How is this possible?" Long Ziwei was about to cry. "Is this clearly to drive him away? I will teach you a trick." Long Chen laughed. Long Chen said this. Long Ziwei suddenly came to the spirit, and his heart was beating wildly with excitement. He knew that his good luck had come. The inheritance you acquired from the 9-winged demon dragon is a very powerful trick, but unfortunately, you don't know how to use it. Let me teach you how to use it correctly, so that your attack can be instantly increased 10-fold, or even dozens of times. Therefore, you should use 70% of your combat power to fight the enemy, otherwise you will be too bullying, and it will be boring to win like that. Long Chen laughed. 10 times? Dozens of times? Boss, please take care of my knees. Long Ziwei opened his mouth and fell to the ground with excitement. He couldn't even imagine how powerful that blow would be. Okay, get up quickly, you summon your 9 wings again, and I'll teach you how to imprint the natal rune in the form of a formation. There are countless arenas in the Long family, which are divided into many levels. The arena for the top players to compete in the sky is a separate level. There are 18 arenas in total, so that everyone will not queue for too long. In addition, after each arena has been tested once, it will take several days. Time maintenance. The competition between the top 10 players in the sky is not in these arenas. They have 3 separate arenas, and around each of these 3 arenas, there is an endless seat for hundreds of people. Thousands of strong onlookers. However, the strange thing is that half of the arena is full of people, while the other half is empty, which looks extremely strange. What's the situation? Why is there no one on the other side? Countless spectators here whispered. I heard that all the viewing seats on the opposite side have been wrapped up. Someone said, "I'm going? Who is so rich? So many seats?" Someone exclaimed. However, as soon as the exclamation fell, they saw countless figures pouring into the viewing seat like a tide. When they saw the group of figures, the group of people were all angry. What are you doing? How can these ants be qualified to enter such a sacred place? Someone shouted loudly. However, when they saw a man in a black robe with a handsome face and an indifferent expression walking in, their hearts jumped wildly. He is the one. Long Chen. Chapter 4962 Long Chen, a name that makes the entire Long family uneasy because he is the son of the 4 great heavenly holy dragons, the son of the murderous madman. The news that Long Chen came to Tianhuang has been spread all over the Long family. For Long Chen and the Long family disciples, some are angry, some are contemptuous, some are indifferent, some are curious, and countless people want to know, this Long Chen is in the end, what does it look like? However, when they saw Long Chen appearing, everyone was stunned, his face was white, his brows were bright, and his handsome cheeks seemed to hide some kind of melancholy, with a maturity that he should not be at his age. Dressed in black, he set off his temperament, both noble and mysterious, so conspicuous in the crowd, standing out from the crowd. He is Long Chen? The son of the murderer? Why doesn't he look very powerful? Is it him? Why does he look weak and looks harmless to humans and animals? Did he admit the wrong person? It looks so handsome, so heartwarming, it seems to pull him to his side and protect him. There are female disciples who are overflowing with love, and have a strong desire to protect the weak, like Long Chen. In short, when Long Chen arrived, it caused an uproar, and almost all the eyes of the audience were focused on him. However, when Long Chen's identity was confirmed, some people immediately despised, some ridiculed, and some people even made a move to Long Chen. Provocative action. In the face of these people, Long Chen has long been accustomed to this kind of childish behavior. If Long Chen pays attention to them, it will appear that he is too childish. On the other hand, Gui Jiu, who was beside Long Chen, had an extremely ugly face. It didn't matter if he was ridiculed like this, but he couldn't tolerate someone humiliating his idol. In his heart, a strong man like Long Chen should call forward and embrace wherever he goes, the strong give way, and the weak worship, not the one in front of him. You dirty mercenaries, get out, this is not a place for you to come, don't defile the sacred arena. Suddenly a strong man stood up and shouted. It turned out that the mercenaries who came in with Long Chen were all mercenaries from the mercenary city, because Long Chen had packed half of the arena's viewing seats. Originally, Long Chen was not prepared to come after the enrollment, but if Long Chen did not come, this group of people would not dare to come at all, and Long Chen had no choice but to come. At this moment, someone shouted on the opposite side, and countless people immediately followed, yelling that the mercenaries were dirty pigs, and some even scolded the ancestors of the mercenaries. This group of mercenaries, because of their low status, came here even more anxiously. If it wasn't for Long Chen, they would not have the courage to set foot here. After coming here, they were sitting upright, daring not to have any extraneous behavior, and they seemed so restrained, but even so, they were still greeted with endless abuse and ridicule. They suddenly felt extremely sad and could not wait to find a seam get in. Call. Suddenly Long Chen opened his big hand, and black spots appeared in his eyes, and the spots surged and gathered into a small vortex. Buzzing. When that small whirlpool appeared, hundreds of whirlpools appeared on the opposite viewing seat, and the place where it appeared was the group of people who abused the most. What? Some people exclaimed that when the whirlpools appeared, those whirlpools devoured this group of people, and some people wanted to struggle, but they couldn't resist the terrifying suction at all. Buzz, the space in the arena trembled, and hundreds of people screamed in horror. They were actually sucked into the black light balls. They struggled frantically, but they couldn't break through. Boom, Long Chen opened his big hand and clenched it tightly, the black light ball slammed into compression, and then exploded, endless blood mist, floating between the sky and the earth. At that moment, the entire arena, whether it was on the opposite side or the people on this side, were stunned, and the noisy arena became silent in an instant. In the face of death, there is no distinction between high and low, and I really don't see where your nobility is reflected? Long Chen said lightly, with a hint of sarcasm in his voice. His voice was not loud, but in the arena where the needles could be heard, it was like thunder, and there was a bloody smell in the air, telling them that what happened just now was not a dream, but a reality. Those who still thought that Long Chen was harmless to humans and animals were simply stunned. This man killed people without blinking an eye. This time, they believed that he was Long Chen, because their father and son were both ruthless and ruthless. Exist. Long Chen turned his head to look at the surrounding mercenaries and said, "So, you need to understand some truths. No one is born noble, and no one is born low for a lifetime. We must move forward firmly. No one can stop our future, not even God. Our life belongs to us and can only be ruled by ourselves. The road of life is not in vain. Every step counts, even if sometimes it seems to be standing still. The hardships of life are not for nothing, and every ounce of effort will be rewarded, even if those efforts seem to be useless. Behind the strong are the accumulation of bits and pieces. The steps forged by blood and sweat are the cornerstones of your journey to the cloud. The so-called blue sky is going straight up, soaring into the sky. It looks quite tempting and enviable, but when they step into the air, they don't even have a buffer. The reason why people don't understand this is because people are used to looking forward and looking up, but not looking down or looking back, so they can't see the painful lessons of those people. Just like them, they died silently, you will soon forget them, but those people who are well-dressed and show off their power are still in your field of vision, such as these in front of you. When Longchen said this, the scalps of the powerhouses in the arena on the opposite side were numb, and they were shocked and angry. Under what circumstances, he should not kill us all. Longchen, you are lawless, killing people indiscriminately. Do you know the crime? At this moment, in front of Longchen, 4 heavenly saint-level powerhouses appeared. As soon as they appeared, 4 chains stabbed at Longchen like lightning. At the same time, the arena trembled, and countless thunder cymbals into that chain. Is it because I'm not ready now? Longchen sneered, waved his big hand, and a black lightning shot out, which was the divine brilliance of the Keel Evil Moon. Longchen slashed out without even looking, and put away the Keel Evil Moon, and then people saw that 4 chains and 4 figures were cut off at the same time. Boom, chains and figures burst into pieces, and everything happened so fast that people didn't even understand what was going on, and it was over. Today's Keel Evil Moon is no longer the Keel Evil Moon of the past. Its power is gradually awakening. Obviously, there is a strange law attached to the chain, but it is still easily cut off by it. The blood fog filled the sky, the thunder cymbals circulated, and the 4 heavenly saint-level powerhouses were killed with one blow. At that moment, all the Long family disciples were terrified. Boy, court death. At this moment, a cold shout came, followed by a violent coercion, which made the people in the entire ring unable to breathe, and felt that their bodies were about to be crushed. Chapter 4963. A one-armed old man appeared above the void, and as soon as he appeared, the terrifying coercion radiated, like a sky falling down, crushing people to death. And the most terrifying power is mainly concentrated on Longchen. Longchen stood up, the Keel Evil Moon was in his hand, and his eyes looked at each other coldly. Above the Keel Evil Moon, the black breath was slowly rising. That person was none other than Long Zhe. As soon as he appeared, the disciples of the Long family exclaimed. They didn't expect Long Zhe to appear. As soon as Long Zhe appeared, he locked Longchen, and his palm was like electricity, and he suddenly shot down at Longchen. He did not give Longchen a chance to escape, nor did he give others a chance to rescue. He wanted to kill Longchen as soon as possible. Longchen felt the murderous intention of Long Zhe, and the dragon's blood in the body was accumulating strength. Just when Longchen was about to set them on fire, suddenly one person appeared. Her long clothes fluttered and her face was indifferent, blocking Long Zhe's way. My God! When they saw that woman, the disciples of the Long family had their eyes popping out. They recognized the identity of this woman. That person was the 3rd-day Saint Long Qianxue. You must know that even as inner disciples, few of them have seen the faces of the 4 great heavenly saints, but today they saw 2 of them at once. What are you doing? Seeing Long Qianxue blocking his way, Long Zhe was furious. Long Qianxue said coldly, "What do you say?" Long Zhe gritted his teeth. Obviously, Long Qianxue was here to stop him. He couldn't understand why Long Qianxue opposed him and defended an outsider. However, this kind of words cannot be said here. He can only grit his teeth, snort coldly, and sit in the viewing seat. When he sat down, the disciples of the Long family left the seat in fright. Gave him a lot of space. Seeing Long Zhe sit down, Long Qianxue turned to look at Long Chen and said, "What are you doing here?" Long Chen didn't understand what Long Qianxue meant. He narrowed his eyes and said, "What? I can't come?" Long Qianxue said indifferently, "I asked your father the same question, and your father's answer was, he came to retrieve what should belong to him. It seems that your purpose is different from his." Long Chen was stunned. He didn't understand what Long Qianxue meant for a while, and Long Qianxue no longer gave Long Chen a chance to ask, and just drifted away. Get back what was supposed to belong to him? Long Chen didn't understand the meaning of this sentence for a while. His father had nothing left here. How could he get it back? You came here, in fact, to get back what should belong to you. Suddenly Chen Kuan-ding spoke. What is here for me? Long Chen was puzzled. This is the Long family, and you are from the Long family. Why don't the things here belong to you? Kuan-ding asked. But I haven't done anything for the Long family. What qualifications do I have to take away the Long family's things? Long Chen asked back. Do the things of the Fengming Empire belong to the Fengming royal family, or the Fengming people? Does the Tianwu alliance belong to Chu Jianying, or is it a human race from the entire Tianwu continent? The treasures left by the ancestors of the Long family were used to revive the human race, but his descendants used them to please the enemy, and they have long forgotten the ancestral teachings. And you, with the blood of the dragon family flowing in your body, are fighting for the human race? Are you qualified to take back what belongs to you? Qian Kunding asked continuously. Long Chen was stunned. At that moment he seemed to understand something. Before, he couldn't figure out why his father returned to this cold and ruthless family. Now Chen Kuanding's words made him stunned. There are some things that I can't take the initiative to say, but your father said something like this, which is like a hint to you, then I can explain it to you. This time, are you still resisting? Chen Kuanding said. I understand, thank you, senior. Long Chen nodded. Although he didn't know the secret of the Long family yet, after being reminded by Chen Kuanding, he was secretly annoyed and felt that he was too indecisive. His father could come back and take what belonged to him. Still don't trust your father? Obviously, Long Zhantian knows a lot of things, but he doesn't say it. There must be his reasons, but he left a lot of hints to Long Chen, but he, obviously not so flexible, can't quickly understand Long Zhanshan's be attentive. If it weren't for Long Qiangshi's question, Long Chen still didn't understand his father's good intentions. Everything in the Long family is not the current Long family, but the credit of the ancestors of the Long family. Long Chen is a member of the Long family, so his ancestors also have a share of credit, and he is naturally qualified to take his share of things. There is a thing in this world called doing my part. Do you still need to be polite to take back what belongs to you? Do you still need to be embarrassed? Of course, no need. As for the secrets in Chen Kuanding's mouth, Long Chen did not ask, although he was full of curiosity, but Chen Kuanding, like his father, could say, he would definitely say, what he couldn't say, just couldn't say, there was nothing to ask. Thinking of this, Long Chen suddenly felt a lot more relaxed, as if he had been lifted from the curse, and a smile appeared on his face. Hey, this old man. Long Chen looked at the opposite Long Zhe road. Although Long Zhe didn't know what Lao Deng meant, he also knew that it was definitely not a good word. He looked at Long Chen gloomily, but did not speak. That Long Qingyun was instructed by you? The improvement of cultivation and the replacement of weapons are also your credits? Long Chen asked. Shut up, what are you trying to say? Long Zhe shouted angrily. He hates Long Zhantian to the bone, and looking at Long Chen's face, he will think of Long Zhantian, the hatred of broken arms, the hatred of humiliation, so he can't wait to kill Long Chen now. If not Long Chenshua stopped him, he will kill Long Chen recklessly. Even if Long Zhantian comes back to kill him in the future, he thinks it's worth it. Anyway, as long as Long Zhantian is in pain, he will do it without hesitation. I mean, you'd better prepare something, such as a coffin. There was a smirk on the corner of Long Chen's mouth. He could see that this Long Zhe had an unusual relationship with Long Qingyun, because Long Qingyun had a trace of dragon in the wild. This is not because the bloodlines of the two people are similar. Long Chen guessed that Long Qingyun's cultivation base suddenly increased greatly. It was Long Zhe who used his own power of the sky to forcibly help Long Qingyun improve. Therefore, Long Qingyun has a dragon in the wild. Sacrificing the power of dragon veins to help others means that Long Qingyun himself has an unusual relationship with him. Is it for Long Ziwei? Long Zhe had a gloomy sneer on his face. You'll find out soon enough. Long Chen also smiled. His smile was more sinister than Long Zhe. Buzz, at this moment, the light curtain on the arena circulated, divine might surged, the arena started, and two figures appeared on the arena at the same time. Those two people were Long Ziwei and Long Qingyun. At that moment, everyone's hearts were suddenly suspended. When they saw Long Ziwei's move, everyone exclaimed, Long Ziwei didn't want to live anymore. He wanted to die with Long Qingyun. Long Qingyun did not expect that Long Ziwei would not resist his move, but would die with him. Although his long knife would stab Long Ziwei first, he could not avoid Long Ziwei's knife. Boom! Long Qingyun had no choice but to change his moves, and turned his body suddenly, changing the direction of the long sword abruptly, from bottom to top, picking up Long Ziwei's sword. Two long knives collided, one was going all out, the other was changing moves temporarily. Long Qingyun groaned, and the person stepped backwards continuously. Every time he stepped on the ring shook for a while, and he suffered a big loss. Boom! However, at this moment, the 8 wings behind Long Ziwei opened, a fin-like wing on the back fluttered, and countless runes lit up. Thousands of runes rushed towards Long Ziwei's arms along the 9 wings. When the runes were lost, those wings disappeared quickly as if they had withered. Seeing this scene, Long Ziwei's pupils shrank suddenly, and he shouted loudly, "Blue Cloud, be careful, Buzz." However, Long Ziwei had already slashed out. This blow drained all the power in his body. This blow was the strongest blow in his life. The dragon weeps blood, and the 9 wings smashed the sky. Long Ziwei roared, a knife carrying boundless killing intent, slashed towards Long Qingyun. Long Qingyun was still going backwards at this time, and when he saw the knife fall, his eyes were full of horror. He had never seen such a terrifying blow, and he roared and concentrated all his power in the long knife. Boom! The long knife fell, the arena sank sharply, and people saw Long Ziwei's long knife shattering, turning into hundreds of millions of debris flying, and endless runes exploded in the distortion of space. Hoo-hoo! In the endlessly twisted space, a long knife flew out continuously and landed on the corner of the ring, with a bang, and stood still. That is, people's pupils shrank. It was Long Qingyun's magic weapon. It flew out, but the man disappeared. People turned their attention to Long Ziwei, only to see Long Ziwei covered in blood and swaying. At this time, his breath was chaotic, and it seemed that he would fall down at any time. For a time, the audience was dead silent, and everyone's eyes were fixed on the distorted space in the arena. When the space slowly recovered, Long Qingyun had disappeared, and there was only a faint blood mist left in the middle of the ring, slowly moving in all directions. Diffusion. Buzz. At this moment, the light curtain on the ring opened, which meant that the battle was over. Long Qingyun is dead. Everyone looked at this scene in horror. They couldn't believe their eyes. Long Ziwei actually killed Long Qingyun with one knife. The arena was empty except for Long Ziwei and Long Qingyun's long knives, and there was nothing left. That is to say, Long Qingyun has no bones left. Beast, how can you kill such a killer? Suddenly, a roar came, and a figure appeared on the ring like a ghost. A big hand grabbed Long Ziwei's throat and lifted him up in the air. People exclaimed, that person was none other than Long Ziwei. At this time, his face was distorted and his killing intent was monstrous. That Long Qingyun was his descendant, so he did not hesitate to use up the power of his heavenly veins to serve him. The purpose of promotion is to test Long Qin, but he did not expect that he was killed by Long Ziwei. Under the rage of Long Ziwei, he was about to kill Long Ziwei to avenge Long Qingyun. Long Ziwei had no strength and could not resist at all. However, just as Long Ziwei was about to do something, the audience exclaimed, and then Long Ziwei felt a pain in the back of his head, and an evil black sword had been pointed at the back of his head. If you dare to kill him, I'll send you to see Long Qingyun. Long Chen's hand keel bone evil moon, his voice was cold, like the murmur of the god of death in hell, without a trace of emotion. The powerhouses in the audience covered their mouths. What shocked them was that when Long Ziwei rushed to Long Ziwei, they barely saw an afterimage, but they didn't see how Long Chen appeared. Boss, kill him and use his life to pay for my life. Hee, it's worth thinking about it. Although Long Ziwei's life was hanging by a thread, he didn't have the slightest fear. For a time, everyone on the field was stunned. They looked at the strange scene in the ring and didn't dare to move. Just because you want to kill me? Long Ziwei sneered. Can you try it? Long Chen said lightly. However, Long Ziwei didn't do it. Obviously he didn't dare to give it a try, and Long Chen didn't move. Everyone froze. Long Chen, are you going too far? At this moment, a middle-aged man with a long sword stood up. When they saw the man, countless long disciples exclaimed, "The first day holy!" Chapter 4965. On the first day, Shenglong Qihua, a name that shocked the entire Long family, was a name that was resonant not only in the heavenly desolate domain, but also in other domains. In other words, Long Qihua is the golden sign of the Long family. He has killed countless powerhouses in his life without a single defeat. He has created many legends in his life. In short, he has the strongest holy king among the disciples of the Long family. The halo, everyone regards him as a target and an idol. There may be some people in the Long family who don't know the full name of the patriarch, but no one does not know the name of Long Qihua. Now that he appeared, he immediately shocked the audience. Even the rebellious Long Zhe had to respect him when he saw him. Excessive. Long Chen smiled. How ironic are these two words coming out of your mouth? If I go too far, are you going too far? Although Long Chen was shocked by the coercion of Long Qihua, this guy is definitely the strongest person in the powerhouse that Long Chen has ever seen, and even looking at him, Long Chen's soul tingles. Long Chen knows this is a strong man he cannot compete with. But Long Chen is still fearless. He is fearless because his father has already paved the way for him. He does not believe that someone in the Long family dares to kill him. Of course, except for the brainless idiot Long Zhe. But even if Long Zhe wants to kill him, Long Chen is not afraid. Even if he can't beat him, he can't help Long Chen. Long Qihua looked at Long Chen and said coldly, "What identity are you here? If you think you are a guest, you need to abide by the rules of the Long family. If you are a disciple of the Dragon family, you need to abide by the laws of the Dragon family, rather than blindly challenging the majesty of the Dragon family." You said everything. You can ignore the laws of the Long family and challenge the majesty of the Long family? This Lao Deng, you can't see it because of nonsense? But see me breaking the rules of the Dragon family? Are you selectively blind? Long Chen responded with a sneer. Long Chen's words are sharp. Even if the other party is the first-day saint of the Long family, he is still unceremonious, which makes the disciples of the Long family and the mercenary powerhouses present all stunned. This Long Chen is so arrogant and domineering. Although Long Qihua is expensive as the first-day saint and his strength is terrifying, it refers to the kung fu of his hands, but in terms of the kung fu of his mouth, he is 108,000 miles away from Long Chen. Dust grabbed, was rebutted speechless. There is no way. It is the rule that Long Zhe broke first, bullying the small with the big. Even if Long Ziwei kills Long Qingyun, the crime is very big. It will not be his turn to enforce the law, and it needs to be handed over to the discipline hall to decide. The most important thing is that Long Ziwei killed Long Qingyun with one move. He can say that it was not intentional, but a manslaughter, and no one can do anything to him. Long Chen has already figured it out for Long Ziwei. If the 3 moves can't kill Long Qingyun, he will have no chance because after the 3 moves, even if Long Qingyun is severely injured and has no strength to fight back, he can't kill, otherwise the nature it has changed. One can be said to be a miss, and the other is an intentional murder. Therefore, Long Zhe's shot is the biggest damage to the rules. Even if Long Qihua's strength is 10,000 times stronger, it will not change this fact. For a time, Long Qihua's face turned black. He was choked by Long Chen's words for a long time and could not speak. His face was gloomy and authentic. Be presumptuous. Answer me, what identity did you come to the Long family in? Qiao noise, what kind of identity do I come to the Long family, and I have a relationship with you? How old are you? Are you the ancestor of the Long family? Can you decide the affairs of the Long family? How about using Denaizi to scare children? I am a dragon. Is the dust scared? Long Chen said with disdain. He originally thought that Long Qihua, as the first saint of the Long family, was powerful and must have a lot of wisdom, but he didn't expect that this guy was not much stronger than the idiot Long Zhe. In fact, what Long Chen didn't know was that Long Qihua had always been brooding about not being able to fight Long Zhantian. That time, he hedged his momentum and no one took advantage of it, so he was stopped by the ancestors. Later, it was rumored from the Long family that Long Zhantian was qualified to be on an equal footing with Long Qihua, and even had the possibility of replacing him. This made him, who was firmly sitting on the top spot of the 4 heavenly sages, extremely unhappy in his heart, but even if he was unhappy, he could only endure it and not show it, otherwise it would appear that he was narrow-minded. In fact, Long Qiwa's mind is really not very broad. Since that incident, he has not said anything on the surface, but he is extremely uncomfortable inside. When Long Chen came to the Long family, he was extremely upset. The reason why he didn't express his opinion was that he was afraid that others would see that he was angry with his son because of Long Zanshan's affairs. But Long Chen is here. He killed the disciples of the Long family before, and then killed the powerful heavenly saint of the Long family. Now, he pointed at one of the 4 heavenly saints with a knife, and he couldn't bear it anymore. This knife did not point to Long Zai, but to the face of the entire Long family. Finally, Long Qihua couldn't bear it any longer and stood up. He thought that with his coercion he could scare Long Chen, at least he did not dare to continue to be arrogant. Where does he know that Long Chen is someone who has seen the world, and this little battle can't scare him? It really doesn't give him any face. Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? A murderous intent flashed in Long Qiwa's eyes. Sir, kill him. Long Zai also followed suit. Laugh, however, as soon as he opened his mouth, the keel evil moon blade tip gently pushed forward, and the sharp blade tip easily pierced Long Zai's scalp by an inch, into the bone. At that moment, Long Zai's face changed. He thought that with his defense, Long Chen's knife would definitely not be able to pierce his skull, but what he was worried about was that Long Chen's power would hurt his Yuanshan through the skull. So he did not resist. But now, his so-called defense in front of the keel evil moon is as fragile as the radish in front of the bayonet, and it can't play any role at all. At that moment, even Long Qiwa's face changed. Although he felt the extraordinariness of the keel evil moon, he did not expect it to be so sharp. If it was before Long Chen entered Tianmu Mountain, it would have been difficult for the keel evil moon to break through the defense of the dragon in the wild, but the current keel evil moon is not what it used to be, absorbing so much blood and soul, making it more sharp. Don't get excited, bear with it again. Don't kill him. What you absorbed last time has not been digested. You kill him now. I can't absorb much power, it will be wasted. Others were not in a hurry, but Keel Shiyue was in a hurry. Now, I can't bear Long Chen's hurt. However, Long Chen didn't really want to kill Long Zai. Just scare him and let him know that Long Chen has the power to kill him. Don't be too presumptuous. Long Chen looked at Long Qihua and said, In this world, no one is not afraid of death, and I am the same, but I have a habit, that is, I would rather bend than bend. My head can be broken, but it will not be low, so don't force me. What if I insist on forcing you? Long Qiwa's face was gloomy, and his killing intent was unabated, and a vast coercion enveloped Long Chen. Boom! The arena under Long Chen's feet was cracked in a large area, and the posture caused countless people to exclaim. Chapter 4966 No one expected that Long Qihua would suddenly explode, and the violent breath locked Long Chen. At that moment, Long Chen seemed to bear the weight of a cosmic sky, and the arena under his feet quickly cracked with Long Chen as the center. Seeing this scene, countless people were stunned. You must know that this is the arena for the top 10 powerhouses to fight. Long Ziwei's last blow was so terrifying, even Long Qingyun was cut into nothingness, but he couldn't destroy the arena. At this time, the arena under Long Chen's feet was cracked in a large area. What kind of power did Long Chen endure? What? In the face of Long Qiwa's sudden pressure, Long Chen's whole body trembled, and the huge force almost pressed him to vomit blood, and the bones of the whole body were almost crushed. Zai Yi let out a shrill scream and put his head in his hands, in extreme pain. He could no longer care about Long Ziwei at this time, and let Long Ziwei slide down in his hands, while Long Ziwei fell to the ground, blood spurting wildly, and he felt that he was about to be crushed to death by that terrifying force. Although Long Qiwa's power was concentrated on Long Chen's body, what he endured was less than 1% of Long Chen's, but he still couldn't bear it and was almost crushed. Compete with me? Come on. I killed him, you killed me, and then my father came back and killed all of you to be buried with me. If you have something, just try it? Long Chen's brows stood upright, killing intent boiling. Long Qiwa's strength is much higher than his, but it is impossible to use coercion to threaten him, make him unable to move, and save Long Zhe. Long Chen was also ruthless and moved out of his father directly. Long Chen didn't believe what they dared to do to him. The words his father said in front of the Jiutian Pass were for Lord Tianxi. And Tianxi will inevitably pass Long Zanshan's words to the Long family as they are. Like the old foxes of the Long family, Long Chen does not believe that they dare to kill him, which is not in the interest of the family. The bigger the family, the weaker the family relationship. Long Chen didn't believe it. They would kill him for a Long Qingyun. The Long family didn't have the guts, because Long Zhantian could kill the Long family once, and he could slaughter them all. Long Qihua was shocked and angry. He had overestimated Long Chen as much as possible. The coercion of the whole body was concentrated on Long Chen in an instant. Even disciples like Long Ziwei and Long Qingyun would be instantly swept away. Press explosion. Even a strong child of destiny will be crushed to the point of being unable to move, and it is difficult to even lift a finger, so that he can easily save Long Zhe and break the deadlock. Although he hates Long Chen, he will not kill Long Chen. As Long Chen expected, it is not in the interest of the family's development. What's more, the Long family does not allow him to do that. Of course, he is also afraid of Long Zhantian. Revenge. However, he never imagined that Long Chen could endure all his coercion, and he could also attack Long Zhanya. The most important thing was that he could control the strength and did not kill Long Zhe all at once. It's amazing. For a time, Long Qihua was unable to ride a tiger, and in the entire arena, only Long Zhe's wailing was heard, because at this time, the dragon bone Shiyue was secretly extracting his blood and soul. Long Zhe can't bear it. And every time he howled, the Long family was embarrassed. Although the Keel Evil Moon can only extract part of the blood and soul power for the time being, and it cannot be stored, but this does not delay it torturing people to play. Stop it! At this moment, a figure came out. That person was none other than Lord Tianxi. Although he was only the Earth Saint, even Long Qihua had to withdraw his coercion. Long Qihua withdrew his breath, and Long Chen let out a long sigh of relief. It felt as if a big hand was choking his throat and couldn't breathe. Now that the big hand was released, the feeling of suffocation gradually disappeared. Seeing that Long Qihua took back his breath, Long Chen looked at Lord Tianxi, who was looking at him with a smile. Long Chen doesn't have a good impression of the Long family, but he doesn't feel bad about this Lord Tianxi, because this person is not as stupid as others. Long Chen pulled the Keel Evil Moon out of the back of Long Zhe's head, and Long Zhe escaped the threat of the Keel Evil Moon. Suddenly he turned around and punched Long Chen with a punch. Everyone exclaimed, and even Long Qiwa's face changed. This Long Zhe is simply a lunatic. When Lord Tianxi came forward, he still dared to act rashly. However, his face just turned around, a big hand covered with dragon scales slapped his face fiercely, Long Chen slapped it out, and Long Zhe turned around suddenly, as if he deliberately sent his face to Long Chen normal on the palm. Snapped, with a loud bang, the two forces collided, and Long Zhe was like a meteor, and was swept away. Amidst the exclamations of countless people, he slammed into the spectator's seat on the edge of the ring, and he knocked through one of the spectator seats. In the big hole, people have disappeared, and I don't know where they were drawn. For a time, the powerhouses in the audience all opened their mouths, and no one expected this result. Long Chen's slap in the face was like an unpredictable prophet, and even Long Qihua was taken aback. This blow of the clouds and flowing water made even his eyes blur, and he couldn't catch any traces at all. Long Chen slapped Long Zhe away with a slap, feeling his breath go away quickly. Long Chen knew that this guy ran down the slope with a donkey, and staying here can only be shameful. Running is a wise choice. Because there is Lord Tianxi, he can't find Long Chen desperately. Roaring and roaring will only make himself more embarrassing. This guy is rarely smart. After a brief shock, Lord Tianxi smiled a little embarrassedly. Long Chen, it's been a long time since the passage of the 9 heavens. Your strength has grown by leaps and bounds again. It's really gratifying. Thanks to you, I'm just struggling between fighting for face and losing face. Now, I can barely live with dignity. Long Chen also smiled slightly. Long Chen said, and pulled Long Ziwei up from the ground. Long Chen found that Long Ziwei had broken bones in many places, and directly gave him a medicinal pill for him to take, and said lightly, "You didn't get killed by your opponent, but someone crushed so many bones. You have to thank the saint on the first day. In any case, you have played against people of this level. If you say it, it is considered a lifetime of glory." Long Ziwei was so frightened at this point that he was not Long Chen, and he could not resist the terrifying coercion. This coercion was not only the physical crush, but also the brilliance of the soul and will. He knew that Long Chen borrowed him to ridicule Long Qihua, and he wanted to cooperate with Long Chen to say thank you, but he couldn't say those two words. He admitted that he was cowardly. "Lord Tianxi, I still have something to do, leave?" Long Qihua clenched his fists slightly to Lord Tianxi, turned around and disappeared. Obviously, the sooner this kind of place leaves, the better, otherwise Long Chen's mouth is too annoying. "Come on, find a place to have a good chat." Lord Tianxi made a gesture of invitation, and Long Chen took Long Ziwei and left with Lord Tianxi. Then a heavy news spread like an explosion in the Long family. Chapter 4967. If it is said that Long Chen's arrival in Tianhuang territory is an amazing news for the Long family, then the news that Long Ziwei has become Long Chen's younger brother is a big shock. What Long Chen did on the ring was a super strong earthquake. The news exploded and quickly spread throughout the Long family. For a time, almost no one knew Long Chen's name. In contrast, Long Ziwei's beheading of Long Qingyun was not so amazing. Long Chen held a long sword and controlled the former fourth heavenly sage, and resisted the first heavenly sage's Tianwei, even in the arena. It was crushed, but he himself carried it down. For a time, countless people were stunned. The aftermath of Long Zanshan's killing of the Long family has not completely subsided, and Long Zanshan's son is here again. What do the father and son want to do? The last time Long Zhantian came, he chopped off an arm of Long Zai. This time, Long Chen almost killed Long Zai. The last time Long Zhantian and Long Qihua faced off, there was no winner or loser. This time, Long Chen used the cultivation base of the early days of the gods to carry the divine might of the first-day saint. These two father and son are simply too terrifying. For a time, there was an uproar in the Long family. Everyone asked to verify the truth of the news. When they found out that it was true, they were so shocked that their mouths could not close. On a high mountain, an ancient pavilion stands. There is only a dangerous peak above the high mountain, and there is only a lonely pavilion above the dangerous peak. Looking far into the distance, the mountains are ups and downs, the fairy mist is shrouded, the Ruatia is flowing, the palaces and pavilions are flickering, mysterious and magnificent. This mountain is one of the best places in the entire Tianhuang domain. There are two such places. One is the place of retreat for the ancestors, and the other is here, the unique fairyland of Lord Tianxi. The four heavenly saints have their own immortal mansion, but in terms of location and scenery, they are far inferior to here. Although Long Ziwei was born here, he is not qualified to come here, let alone him. Before Long Chen, there were absolutely no more than one person invited to a private territory. When they came to the ancient pavilion, Long Chen and Lord Tianxi took their seats respectively. Lord Tianxi looked at Long Ziwei and said, "Sit down too." "Disciple doesn't dare, it's better for disciple to stand." Long Ziwei hurriedly said, although he was usually very arrogant, but he was always respectful to this Lord Tianxi. Lord Tianxi is in charge of the legal affairs of the Long family. He is upright and upright. He has always believed in all the strong people in the Long family. Long Ziwei dares to shout at the growth of the Long family, but for Lord Tianxi, he respects him from the bottom of his heart. "Sit down, cultivators, don't stick to the small details. If you really respect Lord Tianxi, you should learn from Lord Tianxi humbly, and work hard to become Lord Tianxi in the future, rather than relying on these red tapes." Long Chen said. After Long Chen said this, Long Ziwei respectfully bowed to Lord Tianxi before sitting down slowly, but he didn't dare to sit down, but he touched the chair slightly. Lord Tianxi looked at Long Chen and couldn't help sighing. "It's really good luck." Long Chen was puzzled. What did the senior say? Although your father is a low-key person, he is arrogant and tight in his bones. No one in the Long family can enter your father's eyes. Thanks to your father's consideration, he is willing to say a few more words to me. In fact, at that time, he hinted to me that he wanted me to give you the greatest help when you entered the Emperor's heaven. I really remembered it at the time, and I was working hard, but unfortunately, I could only watch the opportunity slip away, and in the end there was nothing I could do. I can only go to the gate of 9 heavens alone. However, it is meaningless to add icing on the cake. After I returned to the Long family, I tried to persuade the Long family to lend a helping hand when Lingshao Academy needed help. It's a pity that I failed again. This time when you came, I also tried my best, but ended in failure. The Long family is pushing you away step by step. People, sometimes the buttocks are sitting too high. Although you can see a wider view, you can't see what's in the view. Lord Tianxi let out a sigh again. His eyes looked at the fairy mist flowing in the mountains in the distance. The scenery was beautiful, but everything in the valley was hazy, and nothing could be seen clearly. There are countless arrogances of the Long family. Why is Lord Tianxi so obsessed with me? Long Chen was a little puzzled. Because you have great kindness in your bones. Lord Tianxi looked at Long Chen and said meaningfully. Long Chen's heart trembled slightly. It seemed that it was the first time that someone from the race had said this, except for a few spirit race experts. Long Chen shook his head and smiled bitterly. This time you may have misunderstood. I'm not a good person. The creatures I have slaughtered may be more than the creatures in the entire Tianwanju combined. When Long Chen said this, Long Ziwei's heart was beating wildly. He knew that Long Chen would not lie, but if he slaughtered so many creatures, why would he not feel any murderous aura on him? Great kindness means that for the entire 9 heavens and 10 earths, the so-called great love has no bounds, great kindness has no mercy, and the heart of compassion in many people is only small kindness, and even some false compassion and stupid compassion are doing evil. Killing is sometimes a kind of redemption. When the world is in chaos, people can't tell right from wrong, and they start to turn black and white, then using violence to overcome violence is the best redemption for the world. Master Tianxi said. Long Chen was moved. I can't imagine that your realm is so high, Mr. Tianxi. The boy is rude. Long Chen couldn't have imagined that Lord Tianxi could say such philosophical words, and Long Chen was wrong this time. Lord Tianxi shook his head and said, there are some things that are clearly meaningless, and those who can affect the future of the world are the real heroes. People say that my dragon family is full of talents and unprecedented strength, but I can't see that the dragon family has gone astray, and if I don't look back, there will never be a day to look back. What do you mean by the day you look back? Long Chen asked tentatively. Lord Tianxi didn't answer his question and said to himself, you just came to the heavenly wasteland, and am trying to convince the Long family that I want the Long family to take the initiative to give you the things that should belong to you, and to sell your favor. It's a pity that they always feel that the things of the Long family are theirs. The owner keeps a dog to watch the house. After a long time, the dog thinks that it is the owner and everything in the family belongs to it. The words of Lord Tianxi were full of self-deprecation. Long Chen was shocked when he heard it, and Long Ziwei was so shocked that his jaw dropped. He couldn't imagine that these words were actually said from the mouth of Lord Tianxi. Things have gotten out of hand, so I came out to clean up the mess. I knew why it was in the first place today. If a good person doesn't do it, he has to be a bastard. If he wants to give things to others, he will be hated. Isn't this a disease of the brain? Lord Tianxi shook his head. Although his tone was calm, his calm tone concealed endless helplessness and anger. For a time, Long Chen didn't know what to say. Lord Tianxi looked at Long Chen and said, this time when you come to Long's house, there are 2 places that you must go. One is the Destiny God Pond, and the other is the Jioli Pagoda. The 9 Towers. When he heard the name, Long Chen's heart moved. Chapter 4968. Jioli Pagoda, why haven't I heard of it? Long Ziwei said in surprise. As the core disciple of the Long family and the top 10 Tianjiao in the heavenly ranking, he had never heard of Zhili Pagoda. Lord Tianzi said, "That's because your strength is not enough. It is usually only open to the strong above immortal, and the number of openings is extremely strict, and the number of places is very limited. Among the disciples of the God Venerable Realm, currently, only Long Tianrui has entered the Zhili Pagoda, and the rest are not qualified." Hearing Long Tianrui, Long Ziwei's pupils shrank. That is the number one in the sky, a legendary existence. So far, no one has seen her fight with others, but her number one has never been dared. Challenge. This Tianjiao, sealed from the ancient times, is full of mystery. No one knows her true details, let alone her true strength. The two Tianjiao ranked second and third have already advanced to the Sun of Destiny, and their strength is also above the Tianjiao, but no one has ever seen them compete with each other. The fourth-ranked Tianjiao didn't even have the courage to challenge the two of them. He could only desperately keep his current position. However, even if they were the advanced Sons of Destiny, these two never dared to challenge Long Tianrui. Therefore, Long Tianrui was a symbol of invincibility among the younger generation of the Long family. It was an unreachable and unattainable existence. "That's why you let me enter the Long family all the time?" Long Qin asked Qiankuan Cauldron. "Yes, it is very important to you, and it belongs to your father and son." Qiankuan Ding said. Lord Tianzi said, "Zhili Pagoda is the top secret of the Long family. It's good that you know Ziwei. Don't tell anyone." "Disciple understands," Long Ziwei said quickly. Lord Tianzi continued, "The Zhili Pagoda is a sacred object from the era of chaos, and it is a pagoda for the disciples of the Zhili people to cultivate. Although Zhilida has gone through countless eras, no one knows how to maintain it, and its divinity has disappeared a lot, but its power is still amazing. If you are not strong enough, you will be hit hard by the cruel laws inside, or even killed. After all, times have changed, and it is unfair to measure the strength of modern disciples with the cultivation standards of the chaotic era. Therefore, the Zhili Pagoda, which should have been used by the disciples to practice in the God Venerable Realm, can only be reserved for the God Venerable Realm." Zhili tribe. Long Chen's heart was beating wildly, and he had an unbelievable look on his face. Lord Tianzi looked at Long Chen and said, "Yes, the blood flowing in your body is the blood of the Zhili tribe, and it is the purest bloodline." Lord Tianzi's words exploded in Long Chen's mind like thunder, and at that moment, countless pictures floated in his mind. At the beginning, he obtained the Chaos Orb in Zhili's secret realm. When he practiced Zhili Xianwen, he was extremely fast. The Tiantong clan powerhouse he met in Tianmu Mountain mentioned the Zhili clan with a strange expression on his face. "Look at him." It turned out that the powerhouses of the Tiantong family had long seen that he was a member of the Zhili family, but he didn't know it himself. "Our Long family is the descendant of the Zhili tribe?" Long Ziwei was also shocked when he heard of this situation for the first time. "This secret will only be told to you after you enter the immortal realm, but it's okay to tell you in advance. Just remember to keep it secret." Lord Tianzi said. Long Chen couldn't believe it. After he and his father turned out to be the strongest human race, Zhili, they couldn't slow down for a long time. You must know that in the mortal world, they were just like ants. How could they be people of the Zhili clan? The Zhili tribe, that is the strongest human race, the most powerful. If the Zhili tribe is so miserable, is there any hope for the human race? Lord Tianzi said, "I know, you all feel unbelievable, but it doesn't matter. You can just assume that there is no such thing. In fact, the Zhili people have long been gone, and now they are lingering on. Do not go out and talk nonsense, otherwise it is likely to lead to the disaster of death." Long Chen took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. No wonder his father said that he came to Long's house to get back what belonged to him, so what he is taking now is also his own. What? Because things are left to future generations by the ancestors of the Long family, as long as they are descendants of the Long family, they have the right to use it, and there is no need to wag their tails and beg for pity. At the same time, Long Chen also understood why his father wanted to violently kill the Long family, because this would save a lot of time talking nonsense, which is convenient and efficient. Thank you, Lord Tianxi, for telling me so much. Long Chen wrote down this love. Long Chen thanked him. I have to say that Lord Tianxi is indeed a person worthy of respect. This knowledge and mind alone are worthy of respect from others, not to mention that he treats each other with sincerity. Lord Tianxi shook his head and said, I originally wanted to draw you into the Long family, and I wanted you to grow up in the Long family. When you grow up, you will control the Long family and lead the Long family to the right path. Now I find that this is just my wishful thinking. The Long family system has long been rotten to its roots, and it is terminally ill and unable to recover. The reason why I help you is that I don't want the resources of the Long family to be occupied by a group of stupid guys who can't eat it and can't bear it for others, and waste a great opportunity. I have to say that your father is the one with great wisdom. Last time, he showed unprecedented lethality, and he also showed his decisive and bloody methods, which made the Long family fear it. What the Long family is afraid of is not his current strength, but that his strength is still in the stage of rapid growth, and his future potential is amazing. Your father has already paved the way for you. If the Long family has a little brains, they should not restrict you, but sell you favors with things that originally belonged to you. It is a pity that the stupidity of the senior members of the Long family is unimaginable. They are all intriguing, cultivating their own forces, and trying to compete for the control of the Long family. This time, things in the ring have developed to the point where they can't handle it. They dare not kill you, and they can't let you kill Long Zhe, so they have to let me be the peacemaker. But you have to be mentally prepared. The Long family will not give in easily, but you have the toughest bargaining chip in hand, so I don't need to teach you how to do it, right? Lord Tianxi looked at Long Chen, and Long Chen nodded. This is not easy. No matter what the other party puts forward, he will not agree. I just want to get back what belongs to Laozi. If you don't give it, you will kill me. Long Chen said, I just said that everything is explained by my father. If anyone is not satisfied, they will go to my father. Huh? Lord Tianxi laughed. I really deserve to be the dean, I can understand it at all. Long Chen said this, and pushed everything to Long Zhantian. It has nothing to do with Lord Tianxi, so he will not be implicated. When, at this moment, a melodious bell rang through the entire Tianhuang territory. Hearing the bell, Lord Tianxi said, Come on, they are waiting for us. Chapter 4969. In the hall of the Long Family Council, all the people who should be there are here, and the people who shouldn't be there are also here, and the person who shouldn't be there is Long Chen. Long Chen had just entered the hall, and all his eyes were stabbed at him like sharp swords, and the strong chill was ignited in an instant. This hall had just held a council before to decide the Long family's attitude towards Long Chen, but the meeting was open, but no meaningful decision was reached. It was only a few days before they came back. This time, there was a sense of judgment in the hall, and everyone looked at Long Chen without saying a word. For of the 4 heavenly saints, the third one came, and they all looked at Long Chen. Lord Tianxi and Long Chen came in together. After coming in, he went directly to his seat and sat down. Long Chen's eyes glanced at the audience, a smile appeared on his face, and he said lightly, It seems that I can't do it without me, or I can't even hold a meeting. I can't imagine that my Long Chen has such an important position. After Long Chen finished speaking, he ignored the others and walked in so generously, completely ignoring the murderous gaze of this group of people. Excuse me, isn't it just trying to get rid of me and create pressure on Lao Tzu? Lord Tianxi has already broken your tricks. I'm still afraid of you being a fool? Everyone in the audience has a seat, but Long Chen does not. Obviously, they want to talk to Long Chen in the form of a trial. But if this can be difficult for Long Chen, he will not be called Long Chen. Long Chen walked all the way, walked straight to Long Qiangshi's side, and sat on it generously. After sitting up, he looked at the head of the Long family very naturally. Okay, everyone is here, you can start. In that tone, he didn't come to be judged, but to judge others. If outsiders didn't know, they would think he was the head of the Long family. Long Qianxue looked at Long Chen sitting beside him. A strange look appeared on his face, and at the same time, there was a hint of admiration in his eyes. Just this determination and courage, I am afraid that he can look down on all the disciples of the Long family. Except for Long Tianrui, she had never seen anyone with such courage. What kind of thing are you? Are you sitting here too? Seeing Long Chen sitting in the position of the fourth heavenly saint, a man roared and stood up not far away. That person is none other than Long Zhe, who disappeared in the ring. That position was originally his, but it was robbed by Long Zhantin. Now that Long Chen is sitting in this position again, his anger can no longer be suppressed. Long Chen squinted his eyes to look at Long Zhe, and said with a surprised expression, "Yo, it was you were in the ring that day, and your technique of escaping from the sky and the earth was very powerful." Long Chen is a pot that does not open and lifts, and specifically exposes the shortcomings of the dragon in the wild. That day the dragon disappeared in the wild, and smart people naturally know that the dragon is in the wild. Those with a single brain said that Long Zhe was slapped to death by Long Chen, and just like Long Qingyun, it turned into a blood mist. Hearing this news at the time, Long Zhe was almost not angered to death, but he was helpless. Now that Long Chen's old story was brought up again, he was so angry that his whole body was trembling and his face was deformed. Long Zhe pointed at Long Chen, his voice trembling with anger. What am I, just this distance, just your big face? To be honest, if I want to hit the left, I will hit the left, and if I want to hit the right, I will hit the right. I was addicted to being beaten last time, and my face is itchy again after a few days of not being beaten?" Long Chen squinted his eyes. "You? What are you? I can't understand the words? Could it be that I pierced too deeply last time? I pierced your brain? It's not easy to speak?" Long Chen said. "Puff." Long Zhe's face was like a pig's liver, and suddenly a mouthful of blood spurted out, angering him. He actually vomited blood because of his anger. It seems that he knew this would happen for a long time. Long Chen opened a big umbrella in his hand, and the blood was sprayed on his umbrella, and not a drop splashed out. The umbrella caught the blood essence. Long Chen waved his hand, the umbrella disappeared, and was sent into the chaotic space. That is, the blood essence that contains the power of the sky can't be wasted. It is better to leave it to the Keel evil moon to absorb. I kill you. At that moment, Long Zhe was completely mad, and Long Chen tore his wounds mercilessly. He had never suffered this kind of anger in his life, and he was still in front of so many people. To tell the truth, just based on your current strength, this life is enough. Forget it. If you can't get out of it, just swallow it. Long Chen's face persuaded seriously. Long Chen's words are very damaging. Let others die. To put it bluntly, you should die. Not to mention Long Zhe's temper, even a good-tempered person can't stand it. Naughty, above the council, shouting loudly, scolding each other, and lawless. Do you have my patriarch in your eyes? At this time, the patriarch finally spoke. As soon as he opened his mouth, he was sternly scolded. The sound was like thunder, and it was full of supreme power, which made Long Chen's eardrums roar. The thin patriarch, the pressure is not weaker than the first day. Long Chen suddenly felt a little dizzy. Seeing the patriarch glaring at him, Long Chen suddenly became angry, angrily said, "I'm not the one making the noise. Since we're yelling at each other and I'm not alone, why are you staring at me with two big eyes? You want stare at him with one eyeball?" Puff. Long Qianxue, who was next to Long Chen, suddenly smiled. She knew it was wrong, and hurriedly turned her face away. When she turned her face back, the smile on her face had disappeared and her icy appearance had returned. However, she couldn't hide the smile in her eyes. Long Chen's words were too lethal. Even this indifferent and unsmiling Long Qianxue broke the defense. Originally, the atmosphere was extremely serious, but with Long Qianxue's smile, although she restrained her in time, the scene suddenly became a little weird. The patriarch looked at Long Chen, and Long Chen also looked at the patriarch. His eyes were facing each other, and no one would let anyone else. The patriarch's eyes were like knives. Although he was not as powerful as Long Qihua, his cultivation was at the same level. His eyes were accompanied by personal will, and no disciple dared to look at him. But the strongest part of Long Chen's life is his will. In the face of death countless times, his will is as strong as steel, and he is not afraid of the erosion and crushing of any will. The hall became silent. Long Zhe gritted his teeth and sat back to his position. Since the patriarch has come forward, he can't continue to be presumptuous, otherwise it will be unfavorable to the situation. After a while, the head of the Long family saw that he could not suppress Long Chen, so he stopped rolling his will, sat upright, his face sank, and said coldly, "I ask you, Long Chen, why did you kill so many of my Long family disciples for no reason?" Chapter 49:70. Facing the question from the head of the Long family, Long Chen shook his head and said, "Please don't buckle your hats. What is no reason? Tell me, why is no reason?" This kind of word game, Long Chen has played too much, so much that he is tired of playing. He doesn't like this kind of routine, but there is no way. In life, this kind of routine is indispensable. Long Chen continued, "I just entered the Long family, and on the way to the entrance, some of your Long family disciples saw the money and wanted to kill." Before Long Chen finished speaking, an old man snorted coldly, "That's not a disciple of the Long family, it's just a person wearing the clothes of a disciple of the Long family." Long Chen didn't know what the old man's identity was, but he said that, 8 out of 10, he was in charge of the security of the heavenly desolate territory. Does this make a difference? On the Long family's territory, they are dressed in the clothes of the Long family's disciples. If they don't have the support of the inner ghost, how dare they be so blatant? You have received so much filial piety on weekdays, but now that something has happened, you want to clear the responsibility? I didn't expect you to be a lot older and still a chef? This level of dumping is okay. Long Chen looked at the old man with contempt. When Long Chen said this, Long Qianxue bit her lip. She found that Long Chen's funny skills were too strong, especially when his words were combined with his expression. It seemed so lethal, and she almost couldn't help laughing. The old man was furious, just about to argue, but Long Chen waved his hand and said, you are too old, your parents have never taught you, when others are talking, rashly interrupt others? Yes, very rude? No culture at all." Being reprimanded by Long Chen, the old man was so angry that his teeth were itchy, but he couldn't refute for a while. He said angrily, "Okay, you go on, I think you can name the flowers?" Long Chen was too lazy to pay attention to him and said, "I killed those thieves, should I kill them?" Everyone was silent, no one said a word. Long Chen continued, "I'll hunt and collect herbs with the mercenaries. Your disciples outside the Long family are savagely fighting for each other. If you want to kill people and sell more goods, should you kill them?" The crowd remained silent. Long Chen said, "Should the disciples of the Long family be scolded in the square? Should they be killed? It's just to open your mouth to express your emotions. Isn't it too much for you to kill people rashly? Even if they are at fault, they won't die." At this time, someone finally stood up and shouted angrily, "Cut! I knew you were waiting for me here." Long Chen sneered and looked at the old man, "To vent your emotions. Can't you kill? If a mercenary calls you a bastard raised by a donkey, will you kill him?" The old man sneered, Swear with your soul, if you haven't killed anyone who scolded you, I, Long Chen, will cut off my head in front of everyone and give it to you." Long Chen said lightly. When Long Chen said this, the old man's face changed. In order to establish prestige in the cultivation world, those who were slightly disrespectful to them would be killed, not to mention those who scolded people. He didn't know how many people he killed in his life. Where dare to make such an oath? So old, all the cultivation bases live on the skin? Still blushing and gasping to say no, come and swear? Long Chen said mockingly. The old man gritted his teeth, but couldn't say a word. But at this time someone retorted, "They are just a group of mercenaries, the most despicable people, as the weak, this is what they should bear." Snap! The man was not far in front of Long Chen. Long Chen said nothing, just slapped his hand. The man was slapped by Long Chen, the corners of his mouth grinned, and blood splashed. "What are you doing?" No one expected that Long Chen dared to act on the council. Everyone was angry, and the old man who was beaten even held the weapon. "What are you doing?" Long Chen looked at the old man suspiciously. You beat me, why are you still asking me? The old man's teeth were about to be shattered, and he looked like he was going to swallow Long Chen alive. Didn't you say that as a weak one, you should suffer humiliation? I think I am stronger than you, so shouldn't you bear it honestly? What are you doing with your sword? Why are you looking angry? Solve the way. Long Chen, are you challenging the majesty of the entire Long family? If you say so, can we kill you at any time? Saint Long Yaoting spoke up the next day when he had not spoken. Don't look at his size, but his voice is like a bell. The power of qi and blood is as majestic as the vast ocean, and the air waves are pressing towards Long Chen like a tsunami. Facing the roar of Saint Long Yaoting the next day, Long Chen said lightly, whoever has the loudest voice in this world is the absolute authority, otherwise the donkey would have ruled the world long ago. Long Yaoting was almost killed by Long Chen. Long Chen continued, there are 2 points you need to figure out. 1, the strong bully the weak, and the weak need to obey. This is what your Long family raised, not me. 2, you can kill me at any time as long as you can bear my father's wrath. Are you threatening us? Long Yaoting said angrily. If you think it's a threat, then forget it. Long Chen looked at Long Yaoting and said lightly, when others trample on your dignity, you can kill unscrupulously. When you humiliate and scold others, others have to swallow it up. It's really a fine tradition, but this tradition doesn't work in front of me. To be honest, sometimes I really don't understand you people. Although you are aloof and looking down on all living beings today, you can regard them as ants and livestock, enslaving them at will, taking life and death. But you are not afraid of the feng shui turns, and among the people you oppressed, a real strong man appeared, with endless hatred, came to you to seek revenge? That also requires him to have that ability. The strong man of the Long family sneered disdainfully. Do you know that someone like you, Long Chen, has killed many people from the mortal world to the immortal world? You are the one who is high above the ground, and you are the one who cried and begged for mercy before dying. Long Chen disdainfully said, Are you going to challenge me? The old man said angrily, Forget it, I'm already old, hacking you to death, others will say that I bullied the old man, and I won't win. Long Chen glanced at the old man up and down, shook his head and said, the powerhouses in the field were gnashing their teeth one by one. This Long Chen was arrogant and domineering. He didn't take all of them seriously at all. If it wasn't for him being the son of Long Zhantian, he would have been chopped into meat sauce long ago. They originally wanted to suppress Long Chen with momentum, and then announced Long Chen's guilt, so that Long Chen felt ashamed, so that the next thing would be easier to talk about. However, Long Chen didn't follow their script at all, and every link could not be buckled. Now it is completely out of control, and it is impossible to kill and kill. Everyone is so uncomfortable that they want to vomit blood, but there is no way to do it. Tell me, what do you want when you come to the Long family? Finally, the head of the Long family couldn't help but said. Seeing that the routine was useless, he finally got to the point. Chapter 4971. Seeing that he got to the point, Long Chen put away the appearance of hanging out, stretched out 2 fingers and said, I have 2 purposes, one is the Destiny God Pool. What? When they heard the Destiny Divine Pond, the expressions of everyone present sank, and their eyes were full of anger, and someone shouted coldly, You are so loud, how many arrogances of my Long family in the Destiny Pool have no chance to enter? You are an outsider, and you want to get in? I think your brain is broken? Or haven't you woken up? Are you planning to continue dreaming? This goal will definitely not be achieved, and there is no need to say the next one, get out now. Long Chen's words seemed to arouse public outrage, and countless people were excited, and even cursed at Long Chen. Long Chen's 2 fingers froze in the air, and when everyone finished scolding, Long Chen said indifferently, Can you all say one by one, don't be so excited, bark all over the place, you know this is the Long Family Council, if you don't know, you think a stone has been thrown in the kennel. Long Chen's words scolded everyone, the so-called stone must be Long Chen. He couldn't scold himself, and the dog was self-evident. At that moment, the expressions of all the strong people in the Long family became a little ugly. However, they had to admit that just now, the crowd was scolding, and it was really chaotic and disrespectful. Long Chen said coldly, "Don't play routines, I didn't come to discuss with you, but to tell you that I want to do this, there is no room for negotiation. Don't think that if you suppress me and go around with me on the first condition, you just want me to back down and dare not put forward the second condition. To put it mildly, although everyone here has lived endless years, your experience may not be as rich as mine. From the mortal world to the immortal world, I have encountered more twists and turns than all of you combined. Playing this kind of routine with me will only make me think you are naive, so let's talk openly and honestly, why waste time?" Long Chen sneered in his heart. This is a fixed negotiation routine. At the beginning, he firmly suppressed it, and then let go a little bit to win himself more negotiating chips. But he didn't come to negotiate, but there was one sentence Long Chen didn't say, that is, you have to give if you don't. However, in order to achieve the goal, Long Chen can't completely rush the Long family, because Long Chen really needs these two resources. Chen Kuanding said, this is very important to him, only success is allowed, not failure. Seeing that the routine was dismantled, although the head of the Long family and the others were angry, they were more or less embarrassed. Although they knew that Long Chen was a little difficult, he was still a young man, and in front of their old foxes, it was not easy to catch them. It's just that they didn't expect that Long Chen is the old fox, and finally understood why Long Chen became the youngest dean in the history of Lingshao Academy. This is not just by force, but also requires a certain amount of wisdom. The head of the Long clan said, Long Chen, you are too strong. Since you know Long Ziwei, you should know that the number of times the Destiny Divine Pool can be opened is limited. Only the top 50 of the heavenly ranking list are qualified to accept the baptism of the Destiny God Pond. Every baptism of a genius will consume a huge amount of the Destiny God Pond. Now, there are only a few places left in the Destiny God Pond. If you use it, other geniuses will lose this place, which is extremely unfair to them. Some words are reasonable and reasonable with depth and warmth. This is emotional and understandable. As a patriarch, his speech is still a little level. Of course, if there is no care from Lord Tianxi before, although Long Chen may not believe it, he can't refute it. I don't want to occupy other people's places, just give Long Qinjian's place to me, he is dead anyway. Long Chen saw that the patriarch wanted to speak, and Long Chen did not give him a chance to speak. Don't tell me those useless things. I saw with my own eyes that day. After his death, when the ring of destiny was broken, he was sucked away by a mysterious force from the back of the main hall. Of course, the so-called seeing with his own eyes is all nonsense. It was all told by Lord Tianxi. At that time, he really felt a little strange, but after the death of the Son of Destiny, it is normal for the power of destiny to be absorbed by Tiandao. Wait, absorb? Long Chen suddenly sounded something, he ignored everyone, and immediately immersed his mind on the heavenly Tao tree in the chaotic space. Long Chen searched for a circle, the destiny fruit was already hanging on the branches, but he didn't find the fruit he was thinking of. It seems that the heavenly Tao tree also has its limits, and the 9-star destiny fruit is already the highest it can reach. Long Chen was a little disappointed after reading it. Could it be that the heavenly Tao fruit can only bear the 9 stars destiny fruit, and can't go up further? But Long Chen was still a little unwilling to look for it again. This is... Suddenly Long Chen's pupils shrank, and he saw a small flower with a soft halo among the dense leaves of the heavenly Tao tree. The flower has 9 petals, and the petals are connected by strange patterns. When all the patterns on the petals are linked together, a roulette pattern is formed. When he saw the pattern, Long Chen almost exclaimed, that was the pattern of the destiny roulette, the heavenly Tao tree, which did not bear the fruit of destiny, but the flower of destiny. Flowers will bear fruit. At that moment, Long Chen understood that the power of the Son of Destiny should be too strong. The power that the Tiandao tree can absorb is limited, and it can only condense the flower of destiny. Only when it absorbs enough power, it will result. Thinking of this, Long Chen was immediately excited. However, he needed to suppress this excitement. The surface has remained indifferent. Now is not the time to be excited, so let's finish the business first. Nonsense, people die, power is taken back to heaven and earth. An old man from the Long family stood up and scolded. You swear I will believe it. Long Chen was too lazy to listen to his nonsense, and choked him with one sentence. I wondered, who did you learn your ability to talk nonsense with your eyes open? After Long Chen finished speaking, he looked at the head of the Long family. Although he did not continue, the meaning was self-evident. The head of the Long family was suddenly embarrassed, and at the same time, his heart was angry. Long Chen's mouth was really annoying. He didn't leave any room for people, and once again damaged the entire Long family. The head of the Long family was helpless, resisting his anger, and said, Okay, let's discuss this matter later and state your second purpose. The second purpose is that I want to enter the Jiuli Pagoda. Long Chen said. Snapped. The patriarch smashed the armrest of the chair with a slap, and the whole person was like a mad lion. He shouted angrily, Absolutely not. Chapter 4972. The head of the Long family was suddenly furious. The scene went out of control instantly, and the whole Long family looked like they were going to kill people. Who told you the name of Julita? Long Yaoting even stood up and shouted sharply. Act. Continue to act. Continue your performance, little black dwarf. If you move forward, believe it or not, I will slap you with a big mouth. Long Chen pointed at Long Yaoting and warned. Long Chen's words of a little black dwarf made Long Chenshua next to him almost out of control again. It was the first time she heard this name in the Long family for so many years. Small, black, and short are all comments that Long Yaoting does not want to hear. The title of Long Chen makes him go berserk. Since you want to die, I will fulfill you. Long Yaoting roared, and suddenly a chain appeared in his hand, and the chain was like a strange python, directly wrapping around Long Chen. As soon as the chain came out, Long Chen couldn't move for a moment. The chain actually sealed the space, and he had a whole body of power, but he couldn't use it. Stop! Lord Tianxi shouted angrily, but Long Yaoting ignored it, and the chain wrapped directly around Long Chen's neck. Fuck you /mom / who wants you to do it? Long Chen was furious, seeing the chains entangled. A bronze cauldron appeared in front of him, and the chains hit the bronze cauldron. Boom! There was a shocking sound, the chains shattered, and everyone in the hall exclaimed. Boom! Boundless air waves blasted out, the entire hall burst open, and all the strong men in the hall were shocked and flew out. Flying sand and stone, smoke and dust filled the air. The originally splendid hall was turned into ruins in an instant, and everyone in the hall ran out in dismay. However, the eyes of the head of the Long family and the three great heavenly saints were full of brilliance, and their faces were full of disbelief. That is, although everything happened too fast, they all saw the appearance of the bronze cauldron clearly, and it was precisely because they saw it clearly that their hearts could not help beating wildly. Damn, come on, it's a big deal, I will die with you. Even if I can't die together, when my father comes back, he will kill you all. Long Chen walked out of the dust, and he looked at everyone with a ferocious face, and the Keel Evil Moon was already in his hand. Long Yaoting's sneak attack just now made him furious. With such a good opportunity, he didn't smoke him, but was attacked by this guy, and Long Chen's lungs were going to explode. Come! Long Chen's Keel Evil Moon pointed at Long Yaoting and shouted angrily. Boom! At this moment the entire Long family was trembling, and then a harsh siren rang throughout the heavenly desolate domain, and the Long family hall collapsed, triggering the alarm. At this time, countless strong men rushed here from all directions of the Long family. Buzz, the elder of the dragon family, opened his hand, and an enchantment emerged, blocking the sight of the outside world, and said to an old man at the same time, Go and comfort everyone. The man rushed out immediately and shouted at the same time, The land of the Parliament, don't get close, everyone is on standby. The man first prevented everyone from approaching, and then began to gather people to protect the surrounding area and prevent others from approaching. What? Want to kill people and steal treasures? Ah, come on. Long Chen looked up to the sky and laughed, looking like he was going to die. You actually have the universe cauldron? Long Qianxue looked at Long Chen with a look of disbelief. Although the Long family had heard of it before, Long Chen had a bronze cauldron in his hand, which was suspected to be the Qiankuan cauldron, one of the legendary top 10 chaotic artifacts. At that time, when they heard the news, their first reaction was to sneer. How could this be possible? How could Qiankuan Ding be in the hands of such a kid? Among the top 10 chaotic artifacts, which one is not the existence of earth-shattering ghosts and gods? If you want to have it, you need a strong strength and a super hard fate, otherwise the power of karma alone is enough to defeat anyone below the Death Emperor. Not to mention the top 10 chaotic artifacts, even some super powerful imperial soldiers, if they are not controlled by the emperor, they have to use the power of a family to worship them. Moreover, there is still a huge risk in this kind of control. If the population of this race is too small, or its luck is not good, it will be affected by cause and effect, and it will lead to the disaster of genocide. Therefore, when they heard the news that Long Chen had Qiankuan cauldron, the Long family didn't believe it at all, and the word suspected was also added to the rumor, which was obviously irresponsible. In addition, Long Chen once held an auction for Qiankuan cauldron and slapped the Longting trading firm. At that time, the Long family laughed to death. Such fake news, some people really believed it. However, just now they couldn't laugh. The appearance of the Qiankuan Ding was exactly the same as in the legend, and Long Yaoding's chain was a super powerful weapon, which burst into pieces at the moment of contact. What kind of weapon can have such terrifying power? The real Qiankuan cauldron, one of the top 10 chaotic artifacts, if it spreads out, it is very likely that it will lead to the extinction of the dragon family. Everyone will seal their souls, Qihua, Yaoding, Qianxue, and Tianxi will stay, and the others should leave, the patriarch said. The so-called self-sealing is to seal the previously seen pictures in the depths of memory and then slowly erase them as time goes by. This will not have any effect on one's own cultivation. If they are forcibly erased, they will hurt root of the soul. The patriarch's words fell, everyone formed a seal, and a rune was condensed between the eyebrows. Then they sent the rune to the patriarch. After the patriarch checked one by one, everyone left in turn. This matter is too big for the Long family to bear, so he has to be careful. The old man who appeased the Long family before is the confidant of the patriarch, and he does not dare to trust others easily. After checking their seals one by one, everyone left, leaving only the patriarch, the three heavenly saints, Lord Tianxi and Long Chen. Long Chen sat on a boulder in the ruins, which was originally the gate of the main hall. He looked down at everyone and said, "Why, it's foolproof to kill people like this?" If it was before, Long Chen was so condescending and sneered at them, they would be furious, and they would even catch Long Chen, and even if they couldn't kill him, they would beat him out. But it's different now. When they learned that the Qiankuan cauldron was on him, their attitude changed completely, and they even felt that Long Chen's ridicule was no longer so lethal. The leader of the Long family looked at Lord Tianxi, but Lord Tianxi looked into the distance. Obviously, the leader of the Long family wanted Lord Tianxi to break the deadlock and ease the situation, but Lord Tianxi pretended not to see it. Obviously, he didn't want to stop. Wipe someone else's ass once. Seeing that Lord Tianxi was reluctant to speak, the head of the Long family could only bite the bullet and say, "I think we should be able to talk openly and honestly." Chapter 4973, Open and Honest. This word is used well. Looking at the embarrassed expression on the face of the Long family leader, Long Chen said lightly, "I have to say that those who can sit in the position of the patriarch are not ordinary people, and their psychological quality is not generally good." Even if Long Chen's tone is sarcastic, he can pretend not to hear it. He opened his mouth and said, "You are also the dean of Lingshao Academy, and you have formed a legion yourself. Since you are also a family member, of course you know the difficulties of being a family member. The so-called clever woman can't cook without rice." Hearing that the head of the Long family started to talk nonsense again, started playing emotional cards, and hurriedly said, It's worth it. Let's get down to business and get to the point. What time has it been? Is it interesting to force sensationalism now? Are you not embarrassed at all? I'm getting goosebumps. The head of the Long family was not angry. He said, "The destiny pool we can promise you, but the Jalita is the top secret of my Long family. You are." My father told me. Long Chun said directly without thinking, "Let's get to the point. With my father's ability, even if it is to seal the memory, it is useless." Although he didn't know if his father's memory was sealed, Long Chun believed that with his father's ability, it was too easy to deceive them. Hearing what Long Chun said, the head of the Long clan said, "The matter of Jiuli Pagoda is of great importance. We still need to consider it and give you an answer later. However, you can go to the Destiny God pool for baptism first. No matter what the result is, you can enjoy the benefits of the Destiny God pool." Hearing the words of the head of the Long family, Long Chun immediately understood that there should be a play. Sure enough, violence is not the best way to solve the problem, but when the problem cannot be solved, violence is the only way to solve the problem. Chenshu, take Long Chen to the divine pool of destiny. The head of the Long family said to Long Chenshua. Long Chenshua nodded and left with Long Chen. Long Chen was a little fortunate. Fortunately, Long Chenshua took him away, not Lord Tianxi. If Lord Tianxi took him away, it means that the head of the Long family has suspected that Lord Tianxi colluded with him secretly. It is very beneficial for him to stay here and discuss the follow-up with them. Long Chenshua led the way without saying a word, and Long Chen followed behind. On the way, no one was seen. Obviously, the Long family had entered a special state, and the surrounding idlers had been emptied. After a teleportation, Long Chen and Long Chenshua came to the top of a high mountain, where the clouds and mist were shrouded in mist, and the fairy energy was transpiring. Just arriving here, Long Chen's spirit was suddenly lifted, breathing the air here, so that the pores of Long Chen's body were full open. The aura here is extremely rich, and most importantly, this aura is extremely soft, refreshing, and has a feeling of moisturizing and silent, which makes people feel comfortable. When Long Chen came here, he immediately saw two old men walking forward, reaching out to Long Chenshua without speaking. Although Long Chenshua was one of the 4 heavenly sages, the two old men didn't even look at her, and Long Chenshua seemed to be used to it, and gave the old man the jade card around his waist. The old man took the jade token and placed it on the stone gate behind him. The stone gate cracked open slowly. It turned out that the guards here only recognized the nameplate and not the person. Moreover, the only people who can bring people in are the 4 heavenly sages, Lord Tianxi, and the Patriarch himself. Moreover, they must lead them in person, and the nameplate cannot be reached by anyone. When the Shermen slowly opened, the thick fog rushed towards his face, and Long Chen suddenly felt warm all over his body. At the same time, his blood began to run uncontrollably, greedily sucking the energy here. Let me tell you, although the power in the Shinqi is soft, that's because once in the Shinqi, once it is inhaled into the body, it will not be affected by the Shinqi, and it will start to become violent. The power of destiny begins to awaken. At that time, you are fighting against the destiny. You have to know how to control yourself. There are countless Tianjiao who died in the destiny pool, all because of one word of greed. Long Chenshua looked at Long Chen and said, "Thank you." Long Chen clenched his fists. This Long Chenshua seemed to be pretty good, and he even reminded him. At least he knew that in the hall, except for Lord Tianxi, everyone else wanted him to die here. It would be good not to encourage him to absorb it desperately, and would not remind him at all. You're welcome. Next time you scold someone, try to be as precise as possible. After Long Chenshua finished speaking, she turned around and left. Long Chen was a little embarrassed. The curse was a map gun just now. The key is to be angry. Who can care so much? Long Chen walked into the stone door, and there was the sound of the stone door closing from behind. In the fog in front of him, you could vaguely see the stone steps. All the way down, Long Chen took advantage of the situation and walked a dozen steps, and a milky white liquid appeared under his feet. Hey, this is the divine pool of destiny, and it finally got its wish. Long Chen slowly walked into the divine pond, and his whole body suddenly warmed up. He didn't need to suck it. The gentle power was pouring into his body. That feeling is like thousands of pairs of jade hands, rubbing every inch of his skin, so comfortable that Long Chen almost yelled. At the same time, the dragon blood, purple blood and colorful supreme blood in Long Chen's body are circulating wildly, and the energy pouring into Long Chen's body is the most delicious tonic for them. The one that devoured the most fiercely was the seven-color supreme blood. At this time, it seemed to be no longer suppressed by the dragon's blood, madly vying for those energies. "Hey, it's finally here, isn't it?" Long Chen smiled. The Shen Qi here is inherited from the ancestors of the Long family, and it is naturally aimed at the blood of the Long family. The colorful supreme blood is here, equivalent to half a master. Long Chen did not take the initiative to absorb the energy, but closed his eyes to feel that the divine pool contained endless power of destiny. After entering the body, it was not so gentle and began to burn gradually. However, it burns very slowly, its power is long and lasting, and it shows signs of getting stronger as it burns. No wonder Long Qianxue told him not to be greedy at one time, but to take it easy. This thing is just like drinking. Some wines are soft in the mouth, but the stamina is strong and violent. After a sip, it takes a few hours to get drunk. If you drink too much at one time, you may be directly drunk to death. The same is true of the energy here. The spiritual energy is mixed with all kinds of powers of heaven and earth. After a stick of incense, Long Chen gradually found out the laws of these energies. After making a simple estimate, he directly summoned Long Linger and Huolinger. When Long Linger and Huolinger entered the Shen Qi, they were immediately excited, but Long Chen made a silent gesture and pointed to the direction of the door. Learn to make a fortune in silence. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.